Introducing a whole new form of racing to the best online racing simulation in the world. This is Dirt Racing on iRacing.com. Race online at some of America's most legendary dirt tracks, including Eldora and Williams Grove. iRacing is the premier online racing game featuring NASCAR, IndyCar, sports cars, and now World of Outlaws, the leading sanctioning body for dirt racing. iRacing is easy to use and features a centralized ranking system to make sure you have the best experience at any skill level. With a massive inventory of high-precision laser scan tracks and cars with an unmatched dedication to quality and detail, iRacing gives you the most authentic online racing experience available. Thanks to iRacing's dynamic track system, developed specifically for dirt racing, tracks change over the course of a race, just like your favorite dirt track on a Friday or Saturday night. From a slick racing groove all the way up to the cushion, iRacing's dirt tracks deliver non-stop racing action. Partnered with the World of Outlaws, iRacing is your source for the most authentic dirt racing experience available, featuring 4 brand new tracks and 11 new cars, including street stocks, Legends cars, late models, NASCAR trucks, winged and non-winged sprint cars, with much more on the way. Join the Dirt Revolution on iRacing.com and start slinging mud today.
Welcome, one and all, to V8's Online's live broadcast of the Blancpain Endurance Series qualifiers here on iRacing.com. This right here is the qualifying series for next year's Blancpain Endurance Series. The final 26 spots on next year's World Championship grid will be decided starting tonight here at the Autodromo Nazionale in Monza in Italy. A full field of GT3 cars awaits with some of the world's best sim racing teams competing. My name is Reese Gardner for V8's Online, and joining me is Jay Kennedy. Jay, do you have me?
Yeah, hello everyone. Thank you, Reese. It's going to be exciting over the next few weeks. We're back-to-back this week and next week, and then every second week, pretty much until the end of January, where we'll fight it out and see who will make those final spots into the Pro Series next year. It's going to be very, very exciting. We're looking forward to bringing you all the action throughout this season, this fairly short, sharp, and exciting season it's going to be.
Yep, certainly is. And here at Monza, we got a 3-hour race to kick things off. And they're in qualifying at the moment. Looks like the top of the timesheets right now is Black Star Racing on a 1 minute 47.87. But as times continue to file in, that's probably going to be under threat at some point.
Yeah, drivers are just starting to post their first lap times now, and it's a pretty quick lap. And surprising too that McLaren, we expected the Mercedes to be the car of choice throughout the series. Of course, the cars are locked in after tonight, and it's surprising to see a McLaren, or as many McLarens and BMWs in there as there is at the moment. A few BMWs as well, which we were expecting to be very, very quick this weekend as well.
Yeah, certainly. The BMW, of course, is not really the car of choice for Monza in particular, because its straight line speed is a bit less than that of the other GT3s. It tends to be the better car in the corners, especially compared to something like the McLaren. But when we get to future rounds of the series, twistier tracks that aren't as dependent on out-and-out grunt and lack of drag, you might see the BMW teams up there. And if a BMW finishes well here tonight, well, they'll be in a really good position.
Yeah, exactly right on that. We've got Core Sim Racing, the highest place BMW at the moment. They're in 5th position on the second lap at the moment. Now, we have, I think, more than 50 cars in the field. I can't quite see the number at the moment.
We're having a quick scroll, and I'm seeing 55.
Wow. Amazing.
Yeah, that is incredible.
How many teams we've got. Don't forget we've got live timing available up on our website as well, v8online.com/live-timing. You can keep up to date, because with this many cars on track, we're going to struggle to keep up to date with everything going on the track. If you want to keep up to date with where your favourite driver is situated, we have that available for you.
Indeed we do, and, well, you know, it's a numerous field here tonight, but it's also a very high caliber one. I think just before the broadcast went live, Jay, we were having a little chat, and you said that the strength of field is over 5,800, which is absolutely insane, especially in a team event like this. We got over 50 cars here. That means well over 100 drivers, because there'll be at least 2 drivers per car here.
Yeah, some teams will have 3 drivers, and others will obviously opt for the 2, but yeah, it's going to be intense, especially coming up towards the end of that 3 hours, to see who is still out there fighting and who's going to be up the front. It's going to be a very, very tense season, this is. Into the last minute of qualifying too, so not much time left for these guys to get their laps in. And it looks like that time from Black Star Racing might be enough.
Yeah, looking like it. Black Star Racing, were they in a McLaren?
Correct, the highest place car at the moment in a McLaren. So we're seeing Odox Motorsport in 3rd. They've just come across the line to complete their second lap. Haven't improved. Glacier North also just slowing down on the back straight. They are in 5th at the moment, and they will not improve either. So not many left to improve their lap times.
Yeah, certainly not. And the session doesn't have much time left in it either. 15 seconds as I speak. And pretty soon, we'll be going racing here at Monza.
It looks like 52 of the 55 teams have put in a qualifying lap at the moment.
Wow.
It's amazing. 53 make that in Glacier South and Hellenic Racing are the only two teams to not punch in lap times, but congratulations to Vendaval Sim Racing, who have taken pole position right at the last moment, have they?
Whoa, yeah, I think they have. They've ousted Black Star Racing. No, they haven't.
I'm
yeah,
seeing
my
the same as
timesheets
you.
haven't changed, Jay.
Yeah, mine haven't either, so we'll wait for the timesheet to update. There's something happening on with the timesheet, so we'll wait and see when they update.
Is it a possibility it might have been an invalid lap?
No, I don't think so. It's sorted into some bizarre order at the moment, so we'll wait and see what happens.
That's very strange. Yeah, on my timesheets, it's still showing the Black Star Racing machine on pole as they're gridding up. So yeah, looks like Vendaval did not end up taking pole after all. Where are they actually? I can see the Vendaval Sim Racing black car down in 40th. And the yellow car in position 22. Well, either way, it looks like the field has been decided for the start of this race. So Black Star Racing is on pole with Jim Racing Pink in second. Odox Motorsport IRSAP, number 28, in third. Evolution Racing Team taking up the fourth spot. Rep in Australia, Glacier North in fifth, Corsim Racing Black in sixth place, with Euphoria Racing Rainbow Sing in seventh, Iberica Racing BenQ in eighth, ninth Odox Motorsport, Samsung number 14th, and Jim Racing completes the top 10 once again with Jim Racing Yellow, car number 25. So that is your top 10 for tonight's first round of the Blancpain Endurance Series qualifiers. And the clock is ticking for them to start rolling off behind the pace car. You can feel the tension even from here in our virtual commentary box.
Yeah, it's very, very tense for everyone. The moment, very exciting to get this underway. A lot of testing, a lot of planning. No teams have done at least 1,000 laps, which is over an astonishing amount of kilometres around this track in practice. So to get the green flag finally for this series is going to be very, very exciting. So looking forward to getting it underway. Good luck to all the teams who are not only participating in this race right now, but throughout the championship as a whole. It's going to be very, very exciting. Cannot wait.
Yep, it's going to be a long, hard road from here on out. These teams have already put in a huge, massive, exorbitant amount of practice and preparation for this race, but they got an entire championship ahead of them, full of exactly the same thing. So one corner away, and the green flag will fly, and we'll be ready to go. The pace car enters Parabolica. Pretty soon, it will pull into the pits. We can see Joni Heikkinen back in the field up behind the pace car, getting a little bit of a gap. And Florian Voiter, beside him, will be looking for when he goes. And it looks like Joni Heikkinen has already gone now, getting a good jump in that McLaren. He's already got a couple of car lengths there on Voiter, but he is under attack from Jesus Cecilia and Elliot Biddle in those Mercedes behind him. Have a look at the BMWs, though. Corsim Racing and Iberica Racing, as they come into turn one for the first time.
Oh, this is very messy, but they've kept it fairly clean as well, as a couple of cars taken to the dirt to get out of the way, but no real contact anywhere in the field. A couple of guys are taken to the escape road, but we've made it through turn one relatively unscathed.
Yep. Now we've got Variante Della Roggia to look forward to here. So Joni Heikkinen, seeing him blinking a little bit. Oh, bit of oversteer.
Oh.
We got some cars off there.
Yep.
That looks like a BMW. Or is it a Mercedes? I'm not
It's a
quite
Mercedes
sure.
at 28. One of those cars are involved.
Yep. Got a spinner as well behind them. So we got a couple of other cars in a very bad state.
Jim Racing Yellow. The Jim Racing Yellow car looks very, very sick. The 25 car is one of the cars that had fairly heavy contact there.
That's a real shame for them. Augustin Canapino for Euphoria Racing, already with a bit of damage as well. He was one of the spinners at the chicane. Got a Mercedes going slow on the Vialoni straight. That is the Gym Racing yellow car, Daniel Cruz at the wheel.
Yes, it looks like the 25 car took to the dirt under brakes and made contact with the 28, and it started a big chain reaction back in the field. But we go back
Almost
live.
going 3 wide, sorry, Jay, coming up to Parabolica. Car number 5, Marin Cholak, having to defend from 2 Mercedes on the run out of Ascari. It looks like he is one of the at least sole, at most very few, Ferraris in this field.
My apologies for the timer on screen as well. It's only showing it's 1 hour race. It definitely is a 3-hour race. This is hour 1. We're now 3 wide down the front straight.
Oh, goodness me. Only Blancpain can turn it on like that. Wow, it's almost a traffic jam here at the beginning of lap 2. Further down in the field, and there's a
big
spinner,
spin.
Dream Factory around. That's Diego Catalan. He got spun around, and looks like Sotomuto already involved in that as well for Dream Spirits Racing. And, well, they've got a bit of a challenge on their hands trying to get going in amongst the midfield here. An absolutely enormous midfield. Tim Bertie under pressure from car 39, or car 16, sorry, in position 39. I mean, up the, seems that up the front, more towards the front there, pretty much single file. Looks like the top 7 have broken away from the rest of the field, or should I say, the top 5
yeah.
Yeah.
Big gap between the core sim racing car in 5th, back to the 6th place Adox Motorsport Samsung number 14 car. So
Yeah.
they've actually passed the 33 car on this lap as well. So
Well, at this point, as they come through Parabolica for the second time to start lap 3, those 2 BMWs at the back of the top 5, the Iberica Racing BenQ car with Nestor Garcia Jr. and Ricardo Castroledo in the core sim racing black car, they will want to stay on the back of this train because without the slipstream, the BMW, well, it's at a little bit of a disadvantage, so they'll want to stay in contact with the top 3 here. Elliot Biddle, Florian Voita, and Joni Heikkinen just holding station here at the front.
the pack behind 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, back to about 20th position. They're very bunched up, and side by side, Glacier North and SRB Racing.
Yeah, have a look, Denis Grabowski there. He's looking for a way past Aratan Meyer. Oh, that's a name I haven't seen, Aratan Meyer. Met him back in the race 07 days. We had a couple of good races together. Hello, Aratan. Shout out to you. But unfortunately, he has been passed by Denis Grabowski. He is now under pressure from Marin Cholak.
Another battle going on. 2nd and 3rd is really starting to heat up as Elliot Biddle looks to try and get a way around Florian in the Gym Racing pink car.
Yeah, but at this point of the race, they don't want to go making too many rash moves, because the characteristics of Monza, very slipstream-centric track with these long straights, and it's very dependent on those braking zones. If you mess up the braking here at Monza, your rival can very easily get back at you on the exit of the corner. So at this point in the race, it's best to sit behind, maybe save a bit of fuel. Of course, it depends on what kind of strategy everyone's going for, depending on what car they're driving. And I'm seeing Meyer on the back of Grabowski once again, those 2 Mercedes coming into the first chicane. Meyer didn't think about a move there, he just decided to stay back. But that chain of cars behind them is a real spectacle.
It's almost hypnotic how many cars there are in a big train there, isn't it? You see this train come through right now. just bouncing over the curbs too. Surprised how aggressive some teams are being with those curbs.
Yeah, you've only got a limited amount of incidents to deal with in this race, so you do want to be careful how liberal you are with the track limits here. Looks like Joni Heikkinen, though, he's gaining a little bit of a gap here on Voiter.
And Biddle's dropped off as well a little bit, not a huge amount, but last lap around a 49.2 versus a 49.5 for the two drivers behind. So he's got a little bit more pace at the moment, but that's not necessarily a big thing at this stage. Some guys will be conserving both fuel and tyres. We've heard with the last update to these cars, the tyres are very, very prone to wearing quite aggressively. So the teams will be thinking about tyres as much as fuel in this race today.
Yeah, certainly will. Hearing from a little birdie that some teams have had their tyres go off completely before a tank of fuel is complete, which is concerning to say the least.
It's bizarre when you think about these cars. I was a spin back in the field. We've got the Vendevale Sim Racing yellow car, the 13 car. It's looking a little bit sick too. And that car was fighting just in the top 10, or just on the edge of the top 10. So disappointing for that car. It's shuffling all the way back down in the field.
Yeah, got another slow car as well, the Zenith high-speed car. The 999, Ricardo Ferreira went straight on at the first chicane, and now he's travelling rather slowly with an injured-looking BMW.
This front five have just pulled away, haven't they? They've got nearly 4 seconds to the car behind.
Yes, indeed. That top five is well and truly broken away from the rest of the field. Now they're in their own little battle pack. 1 McLaren, 2 Mercedes, 2 BMWs, your top five. And Joni Heikkinen, at this point, can pretty much do whatever he wants in terms of racing lines down the straights. Because Voiter just isn't able to get close to him at this stage. And, well, have a look at that. Elliot Biddle's dropped off even more, and this has allowed Voiter and Heikkinen to sort of break away themselves.
Yeah, just as you said, he's not able to get there. This is the closest he's been, and he's closing up in this draft. He gets out of the throttle pretty early as well, so they're thinking long game about this this fuel number that they need to get to before they get too racy.
Yeah, the McLaren's quite a thirsty car as well, so that's always a benefit. Battle forming for 6th and 7th, though. Xavier Stella and Dion Fiallo. Sorry about that complete butchering of pronunciation there.
I've given up already, Race. We all know how bad I am at pronunciation, so I've given up already today. I'll just go with team names. But yeah, that's a very interesting battle. They've dropped, as I said before, nearly 4 seconds behind that big lead battle pack. But they've pulled nearly 3 seconds on the 8th car back, which is in a fairly decent battle as well, a 5-car battle.
Yeah, certainly. There's Pekka Tuomainen for Glacier North, followed by Marius Golombek, Grabowski, Maya Cholak, which we were talking about before. That's positions 8 to 12. Behind them, it looks like most cars are separating into their own little packs.
There's not many cars that aren't in a battle, but there's lots of 2 and 3 car battles as opposed to big packs that we saw, which I'm probably a little bit surprised about. I thought we'd see more 4 and 5 car packs with drivers defending positions a little bit more, but I think some teams and drivers are starting to think about, no point fighting too hard now when it's such a long race. We'll just get into a groove and a rhythm. If someone's quicker, let them through.
Yeah, speaking of which, we've got a move. Jakob Brzezinski in the number 32 car just got by Roy Kolber at Parabolica.
Yep.
Bit of a better exit out of Ascari on that occasion.
Oh, that 6th and 7th battle is on there side by side down the front straight and change of position. So The Thrustmaster Miviano red team is through into 6. Odox Motorsport Samsung back into 7th.
Yes, indeed. And the Odox Motorsport car has a little bit of front end damage, which I think might affect their straight line speed a little. So what Xavier Stella will want to do now is just stay within range of Fiallo. Try and gain back some of that straight line speed. We'll have a look at him here in the slower part of the circuit. He's not letting Fiallo get away.
No, the gap's staying pretty consistent now. So probably isn't going to hurt too much. In a way, it might be better to be tucked in behind because that will help with speed, being able to draft as opposed to being the drafted.
Yes, indeed. And
I'd look at that next pack back.
Yeah, I'm looking even further back, Jay. There's battles everywhere in this field. Have a look at position 26 back. These guys are going insane back here.
Can't really see it with the dust that they're all kicking up at the moment.
Yeah.
So, what have we got? 8 cars in this battle at the moment.
Alex Adesanya going by Christian Skumlian.
Good move.
Yeah, the BMW with the straight line advantage, which is a rare thing to see. Oh,
Whoa.
Alex. Just getting loose over the bump on the exit of Ascari. I do think that might catch a few people out in this race. And look, Christian's just under immense pressure here. I don't know if he'll be able to defend. Well, he's gonna give it a go. Around the outside at Parabolica. That's Canapino pulling up alongside him. As Nils Senkowski carries on.
Still side by side.
Wow. Looks like Canapino just gets ahead in the braking zone, and we got another move back further. Adria Perez gets by Daniel Cruz.
Back up the front. 3rd, 4th, 5th. They've closed back up again. But Biddle looks to be under a little bit more pressure than he was before.
Yeah, yes, indeed. Those BMWs have come good, and they're catching back up to this Mercedes. This is exactly what I was talking about earlier. Garcia and Lado just staying in touch, and, well, Biddle's tyres will have started going off by now, probably, but the BMW having the better chassis will probably take care of its tyres a little better. So this is the time when those BMW teams will be looking to make some moves.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're right on that one. I think a lot of the teams in those non-Mercedes cars will be thinking now's the time to start making their plays and making some moves. Do it now before the end of this stint as opposed to the midway point or in the pits. Start to get some moves shuffling now. Get a little bit creative.
Yeah, they're still staying pretty stable though. Still not quite close enough to make a move.
For the most part, most of the field's pretty much single file. Change of position 28th and 29th on the screen at the moment. Through goes the Euphoria Racing number 86 car over the Vendevale Sim Racing Black 138 car.
Yeah, Augustin Canapino continuing to make his way back up the field after their very poor lap 1. Remember, those guys started in 7th, so they're having to fight their way back quite a bit.
Yeah, they got shuffled out in that accident earlier on, so doing a good job to work their way back up.
Our race leader has pulled out a gap once again. He's continuing to lift and coast in the braking zones. So Black Star Racing with hectic pace right now.
Yeah, they're looking very, very good at the moment, aren't they? Just lap times are nice and consistent as well. They're pretty much punching out identical lap times lap after lap, so that bodes well for them. Consistency, able to save fuel and have the race lead is always a good start.
Certainly is, and well, it looks like the two BMWs in our top 5 fell back a little once again over the course of the last half of that lap.
About 0.3 of a second slower that lap than the 3 cars ahead.
Yeah, they actually are dropping back quite a bit now, aren't they? Well, we'll see what happens when they come out of Lesmo too. We'll see if the BMWs have caught back up. Looks to me like Nestor Garcia is already making his statement about his car's pace in this section of the lap.
They look really good here, don't they?
Yeah.
BMWs, but just that front straight is absolutely killing them. But the rest of the lap, they do such a good job, and by the time they've caught back up, it's time to lose all that speed again.
Yeah, that's one of the things about GT3 racing, isn't it? Your car choice, it has to be a very informed decision. You got to just not be able to work past the disadvantages of your car, but play to the advantages of the car as well. It's very hard at a place like Monza, which is a very polarizing track in that regard.
Big thing for the 2 cars, the BMWs up the front, is they will be rocket ships next round as we head to Silverstone. So track not really as suited for them here, but head to Silverstone next weekend. It's going to be good to see. I think we'll have a pretty different mix next weekend with the different cars. So
yeah, I 100% agree, and I guess for the BMW guys, this round is just head down, eyes forward, and just focus on getting to the finish.
And if you can pull some sort of decent result, that bodes amazing for your chances as we approach the end. And amazing to see the number of cars we've ended up. 55 cars in the race tonight.
Yeah.
That battle 6th and 7th is starting to slow and die down a little. The Odox Motorsport car is dropping a little bit of pace, so that damage at the front is probably starting to hurt now. And with that damage too, there's probably a little bit of steering damage, which would then mean tyre wear will be a bit more extreme.
Yes, and catching them just a little on the last lap was position number 8, Pekka Tuomainen. So that 8th place back train will be catching up to Xavier Stella in a short amount of time. Thank you very much to Puhis in the broadcast chat, letting us know that Heikkinen is the defending Finnish national sim racing champion, which is an interesting little factoid. Thank you very much for that.
We know how good the Finnish are at sim racing, so to be the champion of those guys, I think no one's going to take any offence if I say those freaks, because that's what these guys are. It somehow can jump into a sim and just be quick. Doesn't matter what sim it is, they're all very good. So you're quite happy leading this train, but I tell you what, that train of 5 at the front, that's it's not as much of a gap between the carriages as there was before.
No, certainly isn't. Those BMWs have closed right back up again, and I was almost afraid that Biddle was going to run to the back of Voita at the first chicane, just the rate at which they closed up, but thankfully they haven't.
But side by side back in the field for 25th and 26th. And our highest place Audi drops 1 spot back to 26th. The team RSO. And up to 25th goes the Gym Racing Zari.
Looks like we've also had a bit of a position change for position 41. Blue Flag Racing getting by Alpine Eagle Racing.
So we've got McLaren leading the race, 2 Mercedes, 2 BMWs, your top 5. Highest place Ferrari is in 11th position, our only Ferrari in the field. Sorry, we've got 2 Ferraris in the field. 11th and also in P45. And then, as we just said, the 1 Audi in the field as well.
I think I saw 2. There was, I think RSO.
Oh, yes, there is 2.
Audis.
Yes, RSO are running 2. I saw Audi beside the team RSO and thought that they were the same car. So 2 RSO Audis. So good to see we've got 2 Audis out on track.
Represent.
The Black Star Racing are doing everything right at the moment, but when it comes time for this pit stop, see how everything plays out. Of course, tyres are a bigger factor than what they've been in previous years in this series.
Yep. Oh, got a potential position change here from 35th back. Got a pretty intense battle actually. Glacier South, Dream Spirits, and Dream Factory. Oh, almost going 3 wide into turn 1. That's dangerous.
That was a little bit messy. I'm surprised they got through clean as well. So well done to those guys for getting through.
Yeah, but now they've got a triple BMW train bearing down on them.
And pretty decent train of cars. Here we go.
Sotomuto having a look up the inside, not quite being able to get very far up, and Diego Catalan having to protect here coming into Lesmo 1 just gives Muto enough room. And Daniel Campos, Tim Bertie, and Thomas Seifert behind them, and those BMWs will be loving this. Potential for an extra position as Diego running off into the gravel trap, almost by an entire car width. Muto's got the run here into Ascari, but
2 is in the dirt!
Oh,
Wow!
tries defending, but has to let him through.
Good move.
Yeah, that was very brave from Sotomuto.
I think that's an understatement.
Yeah, fair play to Diego. He stayed in the middle of the road, more or less. And had to force Muto to find a way around. Those BMWs are jostling behind him, though. Tim Bertie on Daniel Campos coming into Parabolica. Can he get it done? Looks like he will be able to, and Thomas Seifert's going to try and grab a slice of this pie as well. Of course, the downside to all of that is Seifert is now without draft, and Campos has got a bit of an extra run out of Parabolica. He's got the draft of Bertie. We might see a pass back at turn 1. See what they do. Yeah, Bertie just lifts off slightly. Campos goes back through. And those 3 Mercedes. Wait, 4 Mercedes? Where did that 4th Mercedes come from? Christian
I'm not sure.
Skumlian.
Possibly.
I think he might have come out of the pits.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I'm just gonna check back. No. Oh, looks like he's just falling back.
Just going to draw your attention to the battle. 8th and 9th. They've broken away from that big pack of cars we had 8th through 12th before. So 8th and 9th, Glacier North and the Pure Racing team, they have broken away and are closing fairly quickly on that 6th, 7th battle we saw before.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing how this turns out. Pekka Tuomainen towing Grabowski along. Let's have a look at lap times. A 1 minute 50.463 from Xavi Estella. 1 minute 50.7 from Tuomainen.
Look at how early on the clutch Grabowski was then too.
Yeah.
They were on board. It was amazing how early they were on. But yeah, these guys that lap were a little bit slower than the pack ahead, but the laps previous have been around about 3 or 4 tenths quicker. So I'm going to say another 5-10 minutes. We'll see a 4-car battle for 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th.
Yep.
Battle at the front, so very consistent.
Yeah, well, I wanted to draw your attention to position 19 and back. We've got another move being made. Team Hosinkveld, Michael Schottler, getting by Alex Arana.
He's lost 2 spots in this lap as well.
Yeah, Alfredo Malo got by him at the first chicane, so nice little battle pack here between all of these guys. An all Mercedes train.
So at the front 5 now have broken 5 seconds.
Yeah.
On that next pack.
Joni Heikkinen once again pulls out a gap, but Florian Voigt and company might be able to get it back soon.
The 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th battles getting a little bit intense. So Tio Martin Esports and Evolution Racing Team, they've caught up to the back of this pack. Not quite there, but they're very, very close now.
Yeah, that Tio Martin Esports car is the one that lost 2 spots on a lap previous, I think. Or was it the one that gained 2 spots?
I think they gained. Sure. And the Evolution Racing Team car, that was back in 17th or 18th, not that long ago. So it's moved its way from 19th up into 14th. And the number 11 car, the Tio Martin Esports car, they started 17th and have made their way up into 13th. So a couple of movers. The biggest mover in the field, at least in the top 20, is our 17th position car. They started in 30th in the MSP Phoenix Racing entry. So plus 13 for them. And plus 22 for our car in 24th, the Jim Racing Azari. Started in 46 and they're almost halfway through the field.
That's pretty good from the Jim guys there. Just staying out of trouble. Their car looks completely clean.
That battle pack we were watching, they're side by side, change of position. The Evolution Racing Team car goes through. Just another spot gain for them.
Yep, Jakub Brzezinski through on Aratan Meyer. And now, next up on his targeting list is Gianmarco Cordova in the 12th position, Mercedes. Have a look at the draft that Brzezinski has got. Aratan Meyer closing up quite a bit in that braking zone. Back up the front, it looks like Elliot Biddle is really under pressure here from Nestor Garcia.
He is for sure. He's dropped off now half a second behind a couple of cars ahead. So you'd almost say we've got 2 separate packs now. As the Black Star Racing and the Jim Racing Pink cars have pulled away a little bit.
They're really pushing the limits of the curve out there at the exit of Ascari. I'm surprised none of those guys have spun around yet. Touch wood.
I'm sure we'll see it at some point. Hopefully we won't see it. But I'm fairly sure we will at some point. Saw some fairly big ones in the Oceanic Endurance Championship a few weeks ago there. So we saw another one in our broadcast GT3 series, Oceanic Sprint series, a few weeks ago as well. So I'm sure we will see big moments there, but for the most part, it's been a pretty clean race. I've just seen a few bumps at the first chicane, but probably expected with the tightness of that chicane.
Yeah, certainly. That I think you could say that for most of the turns here at Monza, especially when you consider how little downforce these guys are having to work with because of the long straights. These turns, they may be slow, but you're still right on the limit through them.
Just going to draw your attention to the car in 7th, Yodox Motorsport Samsung entry. They've dropped from the Thrustmaster Vivano car ahead and are now under a lot of pressure from the Glacier North and Pure Racing team guys. So, very interesting battle.
Yeah, Dion Fialo is just making his way up there on his own. Xavier Stella, well, he lost 0.6 on the last lap. I'm wondering if he made a mistake.
Very possible that that's what's happened, because that was about... The gap was around about 1.3. It's now down to half a second, so probably what has happened. Have a look at the gap at the front.
Oh, yeah.
So the Black Star car is now out over a second.
Wow, what happened there?
So he's just broken away. So possibly hit a fuel number. But that last lap, a 149.4. They've been doing mid to low 50s. Now we're into the 49s again. So possibly hit their fuel number that they want to get to for this first stint. And now can put the pedal down for a little bit, which will actually put some pressure on this pack behind.
Yeah, definitely. I rewound the last lap just to see what happened, and it looked like, for the most part, it was just Joni Heikkinen putting the hammer down. Florian Voita did make a mistake coming out of Lesmo too, but it didn't really affect him that much. So now Joni Heikkinen is really pushing the limits. I just saw him at Della Roggia mount the curb in a way that isn't very healthy for the McLaren, so he's really pushing her right now. The
Yodox Motorsport car has just dropped a spot, and under pressure from the Pure Racing team car, I think this will get done very, very soon.
Yeah, Stella right in the midst of that right now, and Grabowski will be wanting to get by in due course so as to not lose the draft of Tuomainen's McLaren. Have a look at the gap that Tuomainen's got already.
Yeah, the 14 is going to be under a lot of pressure here. And I'm going to guess that it'll be done at turn 1.
Oh, not if those
Maybe
cars
not, no.
keep making those errors like that. The oversteer on the exit of Parabolica has put paid to many a fight for position.
Have a look at the gap at the front. 2 seconds.
Oh my god, so yeah...
149.5 last lap versus...
So Joni Heikkinen has checked out.
Yep. 154 versus a 149.5 for our first two cars. So a full second quicker, first and second.
Black Star Racing have finished playing the poker game of the first laps of this race, and now they've decided to cash out with all the chips. So it'll be interesting to see where they go from here.
They've at least gone all in anyway, so...
Yeah.
See another change of position too. We've got car running straight ahead, 99. They've given up a spot to the Evolution Racing team car, so the Evolution Racing team now up to 11th. And that Torrent Motorsport 99 car just dropped, I think, 4 spots there. See if we
Well,
can
I'll
get a
tell you
replay.
one thing. Yeah, if we, as you do that, Jay, I will point out that one thing that Joni Haikkonen's sudden pace increase has done is it's made Florian Voita open to a potential pass from Elliott Biddle. Because Voita is now technically the lead car in the pack. So he doesn't have the draft of Haikkonen to work with anymore. He's very vulnerable right now.
And will we see a move made? Because probably close enough now out of the throttle very early.
Yeah.
Probably out of the throttle 150 metres before the braking marker. So amazing to see how much pace these guys have got and how quick they are still in fuel saving mode. But that McLaren is absolutely checked out in front. 2.4 seconds now.
I don't know, man. Like, have a look at how aggressive he is at the curbs at Della Roggia. The McLaren traditionally has not liked curbs very much compared to the other GT3 cars. So, see Haikkonen do that, well, at the very least, it tells us that he's very confident in his car right now.
He's got it absolutely dialed in, so doing a great job in this stint. Biddle's doing a great job applying pressure at the moment, isn't he?
Yeah, he definitely is. You can see that Voita is... Well, he's still keeping it together, but you can see some cracks showing.
Just needs to make sure he gets to the end of this stint.
Yeah, I saw some chatter in the broadcast chat earlier that if Black Star Racing can make it to the hour mark, they've pretty much got this in the bag. So we'll have to wait and see when they pit.
Yeah, so the reason that car is starting to push as hard as it is either one, they know that they're right on fuel, or two, they know they've got no hope on fuel, so they actually have to try and win this race on pace. So
yeah,
it's one of those two, and the pace that they've got at the moment, there's every chance of them being able to check out and do an extra splash and dash of fuel.
Yeah, certainly.
Could potentially be a viable option.
It could. It definitely could. With Yoni doing the lap times that he is and being as aggressive as he is, that is certainly a possibility, but looks like that gap has stretched out to almost 3 seconds now.
Yodox Motorsport car has dropped behind. Now they've dropped behind the Pure Racing Team Black and now under pressure from the Etster Racing Team Ferrari, our highest placed Ferrari, up into 10th position.
Yeah, Marin Cholak started in that car in 16th place, so them to be in 10th, that's a pretty good run. Stella using those curbs quite a bit, and it looks like Cholak is going to have a run on him here. Or maybe not. He's got a tiny bit of a draft. Looks like he's backing out of it fairly early.
Way out of the throttle there. Of course, this car's done a pretty good job to catch up, so might need to save a bit of fuel for a couple of laps. We're just seeing a pass made with the MSP Phoenix Racing car up into 16th position. The GTL VRT Gold car drops back to 17th.
And that battle pack still hasn't quite abated yet. They're not as close as they were before, but they're still definitely within range. And have a look at how much Alfredo Malo closes up under brakes on Adam Sibilak. Absolute insanity. Reminder to all the viewers who are unfamiliar with GT3 racing, and I mean, I don't think there's very many people watching this right now that are unfamiliar with GT3 racing, but just to clarify, these cars use quite a bit of electronics. They have access to traction control and anti-lock brakes, so the amount that you can both stab on the throttle and brake super late in these cars, it seems to defy expectation.
And some drivers like to use those electronics as well, and other drivers tone them down quite a lot. It's a bit of a personal preference on the way you drive these things. So, see some drivers have everything turned up to max, and other drivers will turn it down to absolutely nothing. So, it's another little thing within teams as well that you have to make sure you've got your settings right when you jump in the car, because the guy before you has had it completely opposite to what you have. So watching this 9th and 10th place battle, Leicester Racing Team car is right there now. Possibly going to get this done into turn 1.
Yeah, we'll see. He isn't gaining by a huge amount in a straight line, so he does pull out, he has a look, but no. Not this time.
Gap at the front now, 3.3 seconds as we're seeing a spinner. Got the 99 car around again. They haven't had a fantastic run, these guys. They're just starting to work their way back up through the field. Nah, fortunately facing the wrong way.
Oh yeah, and I can see how that happened. Unfortunately, Aratan Meyer tagged them coming into turn 1. Knocked them around, so not what you want to see happen, and that caused a bit of chaos behind them, but fortunately they're still going. That's the main thing in a race like this.
Yeah, exactly right. You just want to make sure you eyes forward and keep going in the right direction. Nah, did a good job to get it straightened off and back out on track. Lost a few spots, but still pushing on. 22nd position now. I think they lost 7 spots in that, but they're still actually at the back of that train, so they should catch up fairly quick. But speaking of trains, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th is on. Biddle's right there now.
Definitely is. Yeah, you can see Florian Voiter already. He's taking that tight line out of Parabolica in an attempt to sort of break the draft of Biddle a little bit, and he'll be focusing in his mirrors quite a bit, Voiter, because I mean, ahead of him he doesn't really have much to worry about at this stage because Joni Heikkinen has pretty much disappeared. He'll be at the end of the longest straights. He'll just be a dark dot on the horizon. But I do get the feeling that, wow, okay, so Ricardo Castro-Ledo has dropped back slightly. Meanwhile, Nestor Garcia's right on the back of Elliott Biddle right now. I don't know, man. Like, these guys, I'm tempted to say that they are trying their best to hold station until the pit stops.
Yeah, I'm thinking that that's especially what the guys in the BMW are doing. They're just sticking with the Mercs for as long as they can. Hopefully they'll come out in the same position, because I think 4th and 5th is probably a lot higher than a lot of people were expecting the BMW to be able to get to in this race. So if those guys can hold on, it was just a big moment for the Jim Racing car. Big wiggle. Yeah. Almost what we were talking about before. Will Biddle take this opportunity? No, still stays in behind.
Continuing to do the old lift and coast maneuver. So Biddle's racing with his head right now. Now, how long is the Mercedes going to last on a tank, and how long will the BMW last?
I know everyone is targeting for that hour, so
Yeah, about lap 34-ish is the critical lap. So these guys will be coming to the end of their stint. I'll tell you who is really on a charge right now, though. That's Pekka Tuomainen. The Glacier North car, number 46 in position 7. Last lap, he gained 3/10 on Dion Fallow in the Thrustmaster Movano car.
he's got it down to 1.7 ahead, so he's catching fairly quick. Gap between that Thrustmaster car and the 4-car battle, 2nd through 5th, is now 4.5 seconds. But that Glacier North car is definitely on a charge in the second half of this first stint.
Yes, indeed, and Denis Grabowski is just holding on. Just behind him.
So at the front, Black Star Racing completes the 26th lap of this predicted 100 lap race. We'll see what sort of pace it ends up being. Got 132 minutes of racing left to go.
Looking like, Sorry, I'm just going through the field and I thought I saw evidence of a driver change, but it was not. I was having a look at the Zenith BMW that was out on lap 1.
Side-by-side action down the front straight for 35th and 36th, and through gaining 2 spots on that lap, the Thorsten Motorsport BMW. Keep getting drawn back to this battle at the front, though, because they just close up so quickly. Sorry, Reese.
No, that's fine. No worries. I was just having a look at the 32nd and 33rd battle. Antitero, Glacier South, had a really big look coming into the second chicane, but he's elected to stay behind once again. Meanwhile, up ahead of them, 30th and 31st, we got Dream Spirits Racing and Team RSO engaged in quite the fight at the moment. Cedric Nebelsiek catching up to Sotomuto in a straight line. It's always intriguing. Oh, that's Muto.
Gotta be careful doing that.
Yeah.
It's a dangerous spot to run out like that, because that grass out there, it's one of the few points on the track where you actually can make contact with grass as opposed to AstroTurf or concrete, and it absolutely rips the steering wheel out of your hands. You've still got the wheel a little bit turned at that point.
Oh, have a look at this. Looks like Nebelsiek might have a bit of a run here on Muto. Goes right up to the bumper of the Mercedes and elects to stay behind. So the draft is proving quite useful for Cedric at the moment.
That would have been for 2 reasons. One, pace is probably one thing. It's nice to stay behind someone that's got good pace, which we know Muto's got. So had worked his way up through the field and dropped back, but the other thing is obviously fuel as well. Let's go back to 7th. Glacier North car, it is pretty much there now. Yeah. Well and truly in draft range. So I'm going to say by the end of the next lap, it will be right on the tail of that Thrustmaster car, ready to pounce.
Yep, gradually getting faster as well. Last 3 lap times, a 49.995, a 49.987, last lap, a 49.906. So just inching forward lap after lap. Let's see how fast he goes on this one with him just getting into draft range of the Movano Mercedes. They cross the line, and it's going to be a 49.83 for Tuominen. So
fastest car on track at the moment is that car too. That was their fastest lap of the race as well. So
yeah, goodness.
So the pace from that car is quite good at the moment, but that could be the same thing that's happened with the leading McLaren as well. Is know that they're not going to make it on fuel. They have to race this race in regards to outright pace now. So they're going to have to do the alternate strategy to everyone else.
Yeah, certainly. But once again, the critical mark is lap 34, or about an hour into the race. If a car can make it past that point, then they are home free. Because every car is going to have to make at least 2 stops in this race.
The only thing with that too is if you've made the hour and you're stuck behind a car, you've been able to save fuel. If you then end up coming out ahead of that car that you were saving fuel behind, that absolutely destroys your strategy, because you then have to save fuel without the draft or without the advantage of that car ahead. So some teams will play some very funny games at these pit stops to make sure that they stay in the right position. So I actually wouldn't be surprised if some cars sort of hold off a little bit and go a little bit slower down the pits to let a car through and tuck in behind for this second stint before that last stint being able to show their actual outright pace. And as predicted, the Glacier North car is right there.
Definitely is. Very intriguing strategy talk going on right now. And Pekka just closes up massively under brakes at Parabolica. And let's see how they go down the front straight. They've got the 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th battle up ahead of them. But Pekka won't be worrying too much about that as it stands. I think the Glacier guys will have seen the Black Star car's pace, and they know what kind of car they've got under them in this race. Whoa. Having said that, that is not what you want.
Whoa! Bit of drive. I was just about to say, again, fastest lap of the race for that car and fastest car on track, but all of that hard work has not helped as we see our first car into the pits in this strategy game. 29th position. Originally the 3 car GT Ross SST Pro White in the pits to make the first stop, and driver change for that car as well.
So Gianni Vecchio comes into the pits in the Sim RC car. And this is going to be... is he staying in the car?
Looks like
I
it.
get the feeling he is, yes.
Yeah. See if anyone jumps into the pits at the front.
The
Black Star car looks like it's fine. It's still going on. So we are hit the 55-minute mark of this race. So that car's fuel economy probably a little bit better than we thought.
Yeah, definitely. I get the feeling Joni Heikkinen may very well have fuel saved enough in that opening stint, despite not having any draft to work with himself, to get the strategy on point right here. But we've still got a few laps to go until the hour mark.
We're about 3 laps away from the first critical number. Saying that we're saying 34 is going to be the number. A lot of teams would probably like it to be 35. If they can get 35, that opens up a bit of strategy. Potentially could save them a little bit of time in the pit stop. And obviously as well, tyres, we said, will teams risk it and not take tyres at this stop? Most teams I'm going to predict will take tyres, because we've seen tyres really go off recently with the latest build. So tyres is another thing. In the past, we would have almost expected teams to do this entire race on one set of tyres, but definitely not the case anymore.
Yeah, certainly not. And if a team does skip tyres, you would think it would be at the second stop because the track would be more rubbered up at that point.
Yep, you're right on that one. Let's have a look at 6th and 7th on screen again. This is a true battle for position.
Oh, yeah.
And we're actually going to have a fight too. We've seen a lot of drivers just tuck in behind and use the draft and not be overly aggressive, but I'm thinking this won't be the case here.
Yeah, don't forget, Pekka Tuomainen is fighting back up from a bad incident in the early laps. The Glacier North car started in 5th place. They are currently looking to pass the Thrustmaster Movano car in 6th. That Mercedes started in 11th. So neither of these guys want to lose any more positions than they already have, and Pekka decides to stay behind for one more chicane. Catches the gravel once again, but it doesn't seem to have compromised his exit all that much compared to Fiallo. Yeah, Pekka backs out once again. Every milliliter of fuel saved is something gained.
That's what the strategy will come down to with fuel at the end of this race. Gap at the front now, 5.1 seconds. Just driving away.
Having said that, Elliott Biddle just made a little mistake coming out of the second Lesmo. He's allowed Voita to get away from him a little bit.
Those BMWs are quite happy being tucked in behind though, aren't they?
Oh yeah, certainly. I mean, I don't blame them. They're the least powerful car in the field. They're a bit of a bus here at Monza. So any draft they can get, they will keep for as long as they possibly can. Glacier North versus Thrustmaster Movano, though, for 6th and 7th. They're still going. Pekka backs out once again coming into Parabolica, but have a look at the cornering speed difference between those cars. You can see that Fiallo, is he going into the pits? He is.
He is. Now, he spent a lot of this stint by himself as well. You see all those other guys have all been in a big pack of cars. And the Thrustmaster Viano red car, that's probably a lap earlier than they would have liked. There's only 59 minutes on the clock. Also in the lane is Esther Racing Team entry in their Ferrari. So,
yep, and it looks like Marin Cholak is staying in the car on that occasion. So yeah, that is a shame for car 33 as Tommaso Carla gets into the Thrustmaster Movano machine. Just goes to show how much of a difference the draft can make. An entire lap's worth of fuel, essentially.
that's going to turn into 2 laps depending on how he comes out with this traffic too. So it could really hurt come later on in the race. It might not hurt a huge amount right now, but later on in the race it will be very, very critical. As we hit the 1 hour mark, 1 hour and 59 minutes left in this race, just under 2 hours. So we will see the pit lane absolutely light up with cars coming in it this time around. I'll predict if they can do another lap, that will be very, very handy for these teams. It'll enable them to race a little bit more in this next stint.
Yeah, it will, and I've got my eyes on Joni Heikkinen.
I think staying out. Yep.
So they're good. They're good on this first stint.
That's big. That is big in this race.
That definitely is, and with the gap they've got, wow.
Into the lane comes the Glacier North car. So they've made the hour.
Yes, indeed, and now, big question is, that top 5, are they all going to come into the pits at the same time, I wonder?
I'd be guessing yes. The BMWs will definitely follow in the Mercedes if they come in. If they stay out, I don't know what the BMWs will do, but they'll probably, even if they've got an extra lap of fuel, I'd be guessing they'll come in and stick with this pack of BMW, with the Mercedes ahead.
Yep. Oh, Ricardo Castroledo just got a bit crossed up over the curb. He's lost a tiny bit of ground, but that won't matter too much as long as he nails this upcoming stop.
I'm looking at how many cars are in the pit lane at the moment.
Wow. That's pretty incredible.
It's just cars everywhere in the pits at the moment.
Yeah, Ben Tusting's gotten into the Team Chimera car. Shout out to Ben, another guy I've known for a long time in the Euro Sim racing scene. Nestoras Kisoglu gets into the Hellenic Racing Ferrari. Glacier South, Blue Flag, Teo Martin, RSO, Torrent Motorsports, they're all in the pits right now, and pit lane is a traffic jam.
There's a BMW starting to pull away. And that is the Villeneuve Sim Racing Blue entry. I'm fairly sure they didn't take tyres as well as the Euphoria Racing car. They haven't taken tyres as well. So a few cars in there that haven't taken tyres, which is a big risk. And
As,
into the lane come the second and third place.
You know what? The Iberica Racing BMW stayed out.
Yeah, I'm surprised with that. They probably going to hurt, and they've got traffic as well. So we've got the cars coming out of the pit. So this is potentially going to hurt the Black Star car. Probably not. No, actually, they'll be all right because they've got a fair bit of a gap ahead. But
yeah, they stayed out on this lap as well.
Yeah, so Garcia's come out now ahead of... That's the Odex Motorsport car, the car that we saw all sorts of beaten up at the start. They've had a driver swap and back out there.
Christian Manzano now at the wheel of the number 14 Mercedes.
I'll see who comes out ahead between the Gym Racing Pink and the Evolution Racing Team number 29. The BMW's out ahead.
Wow, okay. Yeah, and that may be on account of the BMW's smaller fuel tank.
Yep. So those Mercedes are still stopped.
Yeah, what on earth is going on there?
41.4 second stop for the core Sim Racing Team cars. And Biddle and Biddle's ahead.
Oh, yep. So Evolution Racing Team has beaten Gym Racing in the pit stops. That's pretty significant. So now my eye is on the Black Star Racing McLaren. They are coming in. So how good is the fuel mileage on that McLaren up the front?
Amazing, I think's the right word for that. They're just blitzing it. But how good? Yeah. The core Sim Racing team, they're an effective second now in that BMW.
That is really impressive on core Sim Racing's part.
I don't think anyone would have thought that a BMW would legit be in second place after the first round of stops or after the first hour of this race.
That's pretty insane. We've got a driver swap for the Iberica Racing BMW. Mark Perez jumping into that one. Joni Heikkinen stays in the Black Star Racing McLaren.
No surprise there.
Yeah, certainly not. If he's doing as good a job as he is, you may as well keep him in at this stage.
And for the first time, Elliot Biddle has clear air ahead of him in the Evolution Racing Team 29. The Gym Racing Pink now following a car again, but not the car that they wanted to be following. They wanted to be ahead of that car.
Yeah, certainly. And Black Star Racing has just come out of the pits. And
quick stop too.
Yeah, core Sim Racing car has come out not that far behind relative to where they were before the pit stops.
Yeah, they're pretty much identical pit stop times for Black Star and Core, both 41.5 seconds. Then the Mercedes behind, they both had just under 1:10 stops, so
Interesting. Very interesting.
So possibly tyres
Yeah.
for those guys in the
possibly.
two ahead, no tyres. So obviously
Yeah,
they don't do the two at the same time. So that could possibly be the 25 odd second difference.
Yeah, it could be actually.
It's definitely shuffled up this race.
Yeah, definitely has. So we got an awful lot to keep track of here. We're waiting to see how everything turns out, but the top three are now well and truly spread out, and my timing sheets will be updating very soon, so I'll be able to get a clearer picture of what's going on. But Black Star Racing continues to lead this race. Once again, the first round of the Blancpain Endurance Series qualifiers here in the iRacing World Championship Series. Oh, Heikkinen ran wide at Parabolica just then. Bit of an issue. Probably doesn't mean all that much.
Well, he's got pretty much 30 seconds on Biddle. So he's got a pretty big gap at the moment. So a couple of tiny little mistakes won't hurt too much at the moment. But I mean, it's still a fairly long way to go in this race. So
And I'm just noticing that the core car just let a lapped car by. The Glacier South Mercedes. And I think that's a very shrewd, calculated move by them to get a car to draft in this stage of the race. Or is it? I can see... Oh, no. He stays behind, so... Yeah. That is indeed a very shrewd move by Ricardo Castro. Lap car's just a bit faster than him. That's okay. Let him by and I can draft him.
yep. Makes me quicker and I get that magic fuel number that I need and might somehow miraculously pull a podium that nobody would expect. Probably including themselves. I think they would have gone into this within the BMW knowing that let's get the weak one out of the way first and then we'll come home strong. If they can pull a result, I think that's as good as a win, as we're just seeing the Torsten Motorsport car looking a little bit busted and facing the wrong direction.
Oh, yeah.
See if we can pick up what's happened. It was in the battle pack for the 21st position.
I was
Side to
unable
side.
to get that.
Side-by-side contact, I believe, with the 88 car, just on the throttle a little bit later than the 88 was predicting, and a little bit of contact, and around it went. See if we can get another quick look. So we go back live. Stay with this third and fourth battle because very, very tight, these two.
Yeah, and at this point it's basically a mirror of stint one. So now it's Voita's turn to save some extra fuel in the draft of Biddle, and Biddle has to deal with there being no car ahead of him.
And you see how early off the throttle Florian is there. So there'll be a lot of saving in that car at the moment. But the Glacier North car keep getting drawn back to it because have a look at who it's come out behind again.
Oh, here we go. It's going to be another chapter of this race for both of these guys.
Just a little bit of history repeating.
Yeah, very recent history. Who have they got up ahead of them? Oh, well, Mark Perez isn't far ahead of them either. So,
yeah, Perez has dropped a little bit. That car was obviously in that big battle pack from second to fifth before the stops, but not quite able to sit there, so it'll get drawn back into this battle pack now.
Yeah, definitely will. And I'll tell you what, if Mark Perez can pull out some good lap times, he may very well be able to catch back up to the Jim Racing and ERT Mercedes just up ahead. He did lose a little bit of time due to taking that pit stop one lap later, but who knows? It might all work out well in the end.
Still
the
a very
very
long
least.
game, isn't it? Like, there's still a long way to go in this race, and people a
Yeah.
lot smarter than you and I are calculating how it's all going to play out, aren't they?
Yeah, well, I'm thinking at the very least, the Iberica Racing BMW has got the Thrustmaster Movano Mercedes and the Glacier North McLaren bearing down on him. So if they do end up catching up to him in due course, he would probably do well to just slot in behind them and allow them to sort of get him back up to the back of the Gym Racing Mercedes.
Well, Thrustmaster Movano car is the fastest car on track, so when it gets there, it's not if, it's when. Get in behind, work together, catch that pack, and you never know what's going to happen. Still a long way to go, so...
Yes, indeed. Yes, another thing to consider is that in the Movano and the Iberica racing cars, they've both got new drivers in them. So these guys are still trying to work out a rhythm right now. Still trying to get used to the car. In a couple of cases, they have a little bit of damage, so it's just one more thing for you to get your head around. So Tommaso Carla and Mark Perez have their work cut out for them right now.
Tell you what is interesting looking at the timesheets as well. Gap between Biddle and the lead car, the Black Star Racing car, so first to third on track, was 30.7 seconds after the pit stops were complete, is now down to 27 seconds.
That's
a new tyre advantage, possibly?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, Elliot Biddle's last lap, a 49.885. That's pretty good pace for this stage of the race, without a draft.
Fastest car on track that lap around was the 29 Evolution Racing Team car, Elliot Biddle. So, the moment the cars with fresh boots seem to be the ones that are quickest. We're seeing a change of positions. The Vendaval Sim Racing blue car just gets passed by the MSP Phoenix Racing entry. That Vendaval racing car looks very, very sick.
Certainly does. I think it's had that damage for a fair portion of the race too, so they are dealing with quite a few problems there at Vendaval, and now coming under pressure from Odox Motorsport.
And that Odox car we saw drop through the field, and it's starting to work its way back again. It looks like it's had a fair bit of damage fixed the front of that car, but obviously it was in as high as 5th earlier in the race, or 6th earlier in the race, so it's been in the wars, but working its way back forward. Back up the front gap. It's actually dropping between Black Star and Core. It's down to 4.9 seconds.
Yeah, it is. I think Yoni's back in fuel saving mode.
Well, he did save quite heavily in that first half hour in that first stint, didn't he?
Yeah. I get the feeling that might be their approach to this race. In the first half of the stint, just save as much fuel as you can, and then the second half of the stint, just go all out. Once you've reached your critical fuel number.
It's not a bad play if you've got the skills to be able to do it. I know that a lot of drivers never have the skill or the ability to save that much fuel so aggressively and then completely change the strategy to go into all-out mode. As a change of position there, the Evolution Racing Team 32 past the Euphoria Racing car, so Evolution Racing team now into the top 10, have 2 cars in the top 10.
And an excellent job from those guys indeed. Of course, they've been on quite the expansion recently. They've become a truly international team in the last few months with the recruiting of quite a few very highly regarded European drivers. Of course, Jakub Brzezinski and Kuba Brzezinski, as well as Nikodem Wisniewski. Those three Polish drivers have seen some success in the R Factor 2 scene, and now they're here on iRacing, making their statements as to the Blancpain Endurance Series, which is awesome to see.
And I must say, I'm glad you said those names because I would have butchered them terribly. And now, we were saying before about the Iberica Racing BenQ car will have company very soon. That very soon is right now. So 5th, 6th, 7th on screen. And again, this car we're on board with, the 33 Thrustmaster Villano Red, is the fastest car on track at the moment.
Yeah, Tommaso Carla on a charge right now. Going up behind Mark Perez. And Pekka Tuomainen is doing the smart thing right now. He's just hanging back right now.
They're just cruising around, saving a bit of fuel in the draft, watching the battle happen ahead. When you're following the fastest car on the track, it makes it fairly easy just to sit in behind and watch what's going on, doesn't it?
Yeah, it certainly does. Also allows you to be able to be afforded the opportunity, at least, to lift off the throttle a little earlier. He can do something that Black Star Racing McLaren up the front can't do, and that is save fuel in a draft.
Just hearing word that the Glacier South entry has under-tray damage. They've dropped back down the field. They were making a charge. I think they were up like 25 spots. Now, unfortunately, way back into 42nd position for that car. So, still pushing on. Hopefully, we'll get a little bit of damage fixed, but not the way that they wanted this race to play out. But the sister car doing a very, very good job in this battle pack we've been watching for quite a while.
Yeah, certainly, and you know that's one of the things that you got to consider with long races like this, especially since there is no fast repair option in these official qualifier events. You got to keep that car as clean as you possibly can, especially on the under tray, because these GT3 cars, they produce a lot of downforce from that under tray. So if you damage it even slightly, then that's a big pace disadvantage. It's a real shame for Glacier in that respect. Sorry?
Yeah, I was just about to say, we're almost at the halfway point as well, so starting to see a few teams really play their cards out on the table for this strategy game, but again, the Black Star Racing car, they've well and truly gone all in with their play at the moment. They're doing a great job.
Yeah, they definitely have. At this stage of the race, yeah, Black Star Racing definitely the best car out on track at the moment. They've held that lead from green flag. They've been able to do it while being conservative on fuel in places.
We've just seen a move done. The Esther Racing Team car is just past the Pure Racing Team car, so try and pick up what's happened. We just caught the end of it, so...
Oh, yeah. Oh, that was into Lesmo 1. Interesting place to pass, and I don't know, I get the feeling that the Pure Racing Team car lifted out of it there.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's a bit of a strange pass overall, not just where it happened, but how it happened as well. So I think you're right on lifting out of it there and just tucked in behind.
Of course, a new driver in the Pure Racing Team black car taking over from Dennis Grabowski is Sebastian Schmalenbach.
Gap first to third now, under 25 seconds, now 24.9. So we've gained around about 6 seconds since the pit stops in the last 20 minutes, but that's not going to be enough at the current pace of this race.
Yeah. And I mean, anything can happen in these races. One incident can change everything. Who knows?
Well, driver
At the very
swaps
end of
as
this
well
race.
still to happen for the most of the cars at the front. So
Yeah, actually, that is a good point. And a driver swap takes 30 seconds just as a base number, and that gets done while other stuff's being done to the car. So
it won't necessarily affect them in track position, but getting a rhythm again after a driver swap is such a big thing. Coming up with guys that have been out on track, we've seen cars out there struggling since a driver swap as well, and it's probably going to be. So I know that the guys at Black Star will both or all have very, very similar pace, so it's probably not going to be as huge a disadvantage for that team as opposed to others, but could be something to watch out for.
yeah, it certainly could. And now at this stage of the race, I think it's mostly a case of waiting on behalf of most of the field. But for 5th, 6th, and 7th, that battle is well and truly on, isn't it?
It's a great battle too. It's turning into a real strategy game. We've got a BMW, a Mercedes, and a McLaren, and I think none of them want to lead the battle pack. That's the feeling I'm getting from watching it. I think, especially now, look, Perez looks like he's out of the throttle really early, almost enticing that Thrustmaster car through, but they're not playing any part of that.
Yeah, these are the games that you were talking about before, Jay. Just trying to second guess your opponents, not in terms of an out-and-out battle, but whether or not you actually let them past or not.
And that Glacier North car, fastest car on track that last lap around as well.
And have a look at that. Look at the run he got, but he's decided to back out of it again anyway. The fuel-saving game is strong right now.
You know what this is going to mean, though? Saving extra fuel now means that last stint, no fuel saving, or only fuel saving at the end, or at the start. It's going to be a really interesting final hour after this last round of stops.
It certainly will. It's going to be basically an out-and-out race in places. Everything that we've seen so far and everything that we'll see for about the next half an hour to 40 minutes is just a lead up to that final stint, those final few laps, and that's where all the difference is going to be made.
Battle pack on screen, or battle on screen at the moment. 22nd, 23rd, 24th. These guys have been very close for the last little while, and just been watching the gap times between these guys, and been pretty close for the last few laps. Oh, big moment for the 54.
Yeah, I seem to have lost track of those cars.
54, 22, and 12 are the car numbers if you need them, Reese.
Oh yeah, the car numbers are fine. I just they just blinked out of existence and I lost them. I think my my internet's freaking out a little bit, but yeah.
Oh, centre change of position. Sorry, we've got the Thrustmaster Viviano red car is now through.
Oh.
And
okay,
into turn one chicane, I'm pretty sure.
That's crucial.
That changes that pack altogether, doesn't it?
It does. It certainly does. And now Mark Perez will be absolutely loving that, because not only will he have a pace advantage with that draft, he will also be saving fuel as well. But that 22nd, 23rd, 24th battle, as you were saying, Jay, another very intriguing one. We've got a BMW in a Mercedes sandwich. Ben Tusting in the Team Chimera car. Well, he's not quite taking advantage of the curbs as much as he could through that section.
It's about to be a 4-car battle too, because the Black Bull Racing car isn't far off catching up to the back, so we'll see 4 cars battling for those positions very, very soon, and possibly a move going to happen here.
Yeah, may very well see it. Looks like Tamiaccioli is just staying behind once again in the braking zone. Daniel Campos, the front end of his BMW, is looking rather sorry. And have a look at the run here that Accioli has got. Campos is going to move across. Is that a bit of bump drafting almost?
Not the sort of cars you want to be bump drafting in, because you can really affect the aero doing that, so...
Oh, have a look at that. Campos really struggling on the exit of Parabolica.
Just go just ahead. 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th. Look at these guys swerving all down the front straight.
Wow.
The Vendaval car looks really, really unwell at the moment.
It does, and we've got two Teo Martin eSports cars behind him. It's a double-pronged attack, basically. Victor Lobato Lopez. He has a bit of a look coming into De La Roggia, but stays behind once again. Fabrice Cornelis stays ahead in the Vendaval car.
It's amazing how these battle packs are just coming out of nothing. I think that's the really surprising thing that's happening in these races.
Yeah, like the race is having this natural ebb and flow, but all those little differences and quirks in the cars and the strategies that are required for individual cars results in very interesting development of how these packs form.
Just noticing a change of position too. The Pure Sim Racing Team Black has gone back past the Esta Racing Team Ferrari. That happened on the last lap. We've missed that pass, but it looks like the Pure car looks like he's pretty racy, so it's pulling ahead.
Might have been a mistake from...
go back to that pack again. Have a look at this.
Oh.
The Vendaval car is absolutely under attack.
Oh my goodness, look at that. Wow. Yeah, now he's going to come under attack from the ERT car as well. Oh, Vendaval closing up under brakes. Packed like sardines into the first chicane.
Yeah, really struggling in that car. It actually looks like it's compressed a little bit, doesn't it? It looks like it's really short. It's got a short wheelbase or something. Doesn't look too healthy, but good to see still pushing on.
Having said that, those guys in the Vendaval car, they started in 34th, so...
And they were up into the top 10 at one point.
Yeah. They may not look in a very good state right now, but they actually are doing quite well in the grand scheme of things. We'll have a look here. Fabrice is going to get passed by Arjan de Vries in the ERT Mercedes coming into Ascari. So that's another position lost for the Vendaval BMW.
The MSP Phoenix Racing car is around. From 11th position, exactly as we said before. Someone will do this.
Yeah.
And he's stuck in the fence.
Oh, wow. So, yeah, that's pretty bad, actually. He was stuck there for quite some time. It wasn't even at the exit of Ascari, Jay. It was the...
No.
He took a bit too much curb on the apex of the left-hander, and that just sent him all the way round.
That's a strange one, isn't it?
Yeah, that certainly is. Just hit that speed bump the wrong way, and, well, not only will that result in under-tray damage, it also made the car go airborne. So that MSP Phoenix Racing 2 car is in the pits, and that is probably race over for those guys.
And they were looking like they might be able to squeeze a top 10 out of this, so... Very, very disappointing for those guys as we hit the halfway point of this race. Under 90 minutes to go.
Yes, indeed, and it's been a very intriguing first half of the race. Let's hope that the second half of this race is just as intriguing. I have a feeling that it definitely will be. So we got a few battles on track right now. the battle between the Ester Racing Team and Pure Racing Team Black Cars is closing up once again. Marin Cholak has found a bit more pace again, pressuring the back of Schmallenbach.
Found pace or rhythm or a combination of the two, and he's back right there again. Now, just looking as well on the timesheets gap, first to third, we've been watching that. It's now down to 21 seconds.
Indeed it is. And having a look at the lap times of the Black Star racing car, ever since his pit stop, his first 3 laps or so were 51 flat, high 50s, but he's been in the mid 50s consistently for, how long is that? The last 9-10 laps.
And it was around about the 35-minute mark of that first stint that really started to pull away and go for it. So we're not far off that point again. Obviously, they ran about an hour and 3 minutes in that first stint. So probably another 10 minutes or so away from that point of going full pace again in that car. So we'll see whether the pace changes in that car in the next little bit. We've got side-by-side action. The 25th, 26th position as through goes the Hellenic Racing car the Torrent Motorsport car, working their way back through the field after being involved in a fair bit of scuffling, that car. So back into 25th now. Let's go back to 5th, 6th, 7th. Glacier North looking like they might be close enough to make a move this time on the BMW Marc Perez. No, not quite. So I'll run through the top 10 right now as we have gone past the halfway point of this race. Black Star Racing leading, got 4.3 second gap to Core Sim Racing Black, who've been taking around about 1/10 of a second each lap in this stint. It was 5.5 seconds before this stint, but now down to 4.4. Then we go to Evolution Racing Team 29, third position. They're now down to 20.5 seconds, full second quicker. That last lap was Evolution Racing Team 2, our race leader, and even quicker was the Jim Racing Pink car. So those two cars are now on a charge. They've got some draft ahead, so they're taking that and using that to their advantage at this point of the race. Next is the Thrustmaster Miviano Red in 5th position. 6th goes to the Iberia Racing BenQ car. Then we've got Glacier North in 7th. Pure Racing Team in 8th position, battling with Ester Racing Team. English is not my strong point tonight. And Evolution Racing Team number 32. They were battling with the MSP Phoenix car, which we saw in the fence not that long ago, unfortunately. That is the top 10.
It certainly is, Jay, and well, I'm having a look at Jakub Brzezinski, and he looks to be on somewhat of a charge right now, catching up to that Pure Racing Team and Ester Racing Team battle.
He's doing a pretty good job. He's just being nice and consistent in that car, and probably getting a little bit of draft now as well, so he might nearly be close enough to start closing up. But we'll see if he can do so as we approach the final stint of this race. Two fastest cars on track, though, are the 29 and the 8, 3rd and 4th position. These two cars are last lap 1.5 seconds quicker than our race leader.
Got some crazy pace from those Mercedes, and wow, I mean that tire advantage that they have right now is really helping them, and they won't lose out as much in the final stint of the race, as I said before, because the track will be more rubbered in. They'll have a little more grip at their disposal, just a little bit though, and some of that will be cancelled out by the track temperature. So it's a big game of swings and roundabouts when it comes to tire strategy in these races.
It's a big game of chess, isn't it? It's really playing out in front of us at the moment. The strategy game is very, very interesting to watch.
Certainly is. And have a look at Florian Boita. The amount that he is lifting off in those braking zones, he's doing to Elliott Biddle exactly what Biddle did to him in the opening stages.
Very similar looking paint, so you could be confused for thinking it's almost like a bit of a replay. The fastest lap that time around was the 8. So these guys, about 0.8 of a second they took out of the race leader. And it's now down to 18. So they're closing pretty quick in this second half of this stint.
Yeah, they are, and I'm wondering if Black Star Racing will be looking at that and thinking, yeah, okay, we can respond to that in the final stint, or are they looking over their shoulders and wondering, oh no, are we going to lose the lead of this race at some point? We'll have to wait until the second round of pit stops to find out.
We are about at that point though where he in that first stint where he just decided to go for it. So possibly are at that point now. So next 2 laps we'll sort of get a gauge on the times between them, but at the moment it's 18.3 seconds first to third. First to second dropped under 4 seconds for the first time. The core sim racing car actually just gone past that Glacier car, but they were tucked in behind for quite a while. So
yeah, and I got to say this second stint from the core sim
the
racing
Vendaval
BMW.
Vendaval car's out. They're done.
Oh no. Oh, that is a real shame. What happened to them?
I've got a suspicion that they may have blown up.
Curva Grande? No, it was
big moment.
It was aero unsettled.
Oh.
What happened there? Yeah, it was oversteering Curva Grande. That never happens. So something must have been very wrong with that car. He was following the Black Bull Racing BMW. Yeah, the car just got loose and suddenly gripped up and sent him spearing off into the wall at Curva Grande. Big hit.
That's a strange one too, isn't it?
Yeah, that is a very strange incident.
They're unfortunately out of the race.
Oh, what a shame for Vendaval. They were doing so well.
Well, they're doing a great job of fighting on. So, disappointing, but still a lot more chances to go. We've got quite a few races left in this series. Big hello to everyone that is tuning in here on V8's Online for the first time in this race. We've got 1 hour and 20 minutes to go. Big thank you for tuning in. What's turned into a lot bigger of a broadcast than we were expecting, Reece.
Yeah, certainly. We were talking about how about 10 minutes before the broadcast was due to go live, we already had 22 people watching on YouTube waiting for the broadcast to start, which has never happened before. It's pretty awesome to see.
Yeah, it's great. So, big thank you to everyone for tuning in. We'll be here for every round of this series. Of course, that will mean we'll be here next Saturday night. Looking forward to going again as we head to Silverstone.
That battle between Esther and Pure is right bumper to bumper, actually.
It's a 3-car battle now, though, because the Evolution...
Again, it's just a case of waiting. This race has just been a whole lot of waiting.
I think this last hour is absolutely going to go off, so we'll see. Will the Esther Racing Team car go through this time? No. gets out of the throttle very early. Evolution Racing Team car does the same. So I'm guessing every single milliliter of fuel you can save now is time saved at this last stop, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. And every meter earlier that you lift off the throttle is going to make a difference in that final stop. This is potentially race-changing stuff that we've been seeing pretty much since the start of the race.
We're about 13 or 14 minutes off seeing some of these drivers who are very, very good in fuel saving being able to come in for this last stop too. So pit lane will light up again very soon. I'm excited to see who's going to be the car to jump first, because a brave team that might play a bit of a strategy game will be the one that will jump first. Conservative's route is to stay out as long as you can and then pit. But possibly pitting one lap earlier and then, you know, short filling the car and saving a little bit of fuel just for track position could work out. You never know.
It could, and a good point being made in the broadcast chat a bit earlier on by David Baker. The Black Star racing car will have a fresh driver and fresh tyres. The Mercedes, they'll either be new drivers, old tyres, or new drivers, new tyres. So Black Star does have a bit of an advantage there.
We've said that before when we've been broadcasting the Oceanic Endurance Series, that driver swap usually means take some new boots as well. You send your fresh driver out there with a fresh car. It's tougher to jump in the car with second-hand tyres. You don't know the grip levels quite as well, so usually try and do the right thing by your drivers and give them a fresh set of boots. But the tyre wears meant that hasn't really been the way it's played out.
Nah, like we've been saying, traditionally, the tyres on these GT3 cars, you could just put them on and they're effectively immortal, those tyres. But yeah, the last update really changed how they worked, and the teams are having to work in spite of that, I suppose.
Just want to have a little look. First to second, it's now down to 3.5 seconds.
Yeah.
Last lap round was a full half second quicker with the core motorsport car. Now, I don't think anyone would have expected a BMW to be in second and closing in on the leader as we approach the final stop. There is no way that you would have thought that at this track.
Definitely not. I'm very intrigued at how this race has panned out. It's not at all like I expected it. A little bit of there have been a couple of blips on Joni Häkkinen's radar in the last few laps. He's been mostly doing mid 1 minute 50s, but occasionally he's dipped into high 150s, low 151s. So he's on big conserve mode right now.
Yeah, probably got to go another 13 minutes or so before the pit window's open. But what a great stint it's been from him. The car looks absolutely pristine. So done a very, very good job in this first stint.
Yeah, I don't think you can fault Black Star Racing at this stage. They've done absolutely everything they've needed to. Oh, a little bit of oversteer and Ascari.
And that all started from pole position, just making sure we got that. It's a massive, massive thing, isn't it? The pole position with a 55 car race is absolutely key.
Yep, you are 100% right. But now as Häkkinen comes up to the start-finish line again, what's this lap going to be? Going to be a 1 minute 50.375.
And the core car's done a 50.8, so it's now dropped half a second. And the Mercedes
Oh, another 3
catching.
tenths.
Yep. 49.8 is now down under 15 seconds.
Yes, indeed, another 3 tenths that lap, so those Mercedes are on a charge. Meanwhile, behind them, check it out. That 3-car battle for 5th, 6th and 7th, still super close, and they were sandwiched together in the first chicane.
And the 8th, 9th, 10th train just behind is still going on as well. So the scene just behind in that next battle pack, 15th, 16th, 17th. They're going to go 3 wide into turn 1 here.
Oh, look out.
Oh, big move.
Contreras going through.
Just gained 2 spots.
Very nice job there, and Agustin Canapino is continuing to pick his way up, and oh hello, 18th and 19th behind them. Adam Sibilak and Arjan de Vrede. It's like Arjan just...
He thought about going around the outside there, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
He was going to be very ambitious, but glad he didn't. So we'll get another look at the lap times at the front from our leader as he crosses the line. This time around is a 50.47. So pulled another 10th on Ricardo Castro in the Core Sim racing car, and we're about to get the lap times from the Hunting Mercedes.
14
49
seconds flat.
Yep. 49.7 and a 49.8 for those 2 cars. So they are well and truly catching, but will it be enough?
That is the big question. It won't be answered.
Oh, we'll go back to that
Oh,
8th, 9th,
another
10th
10
battle. Have a look
laps.
at this. They're
Oh.
weaving down the front straight with lap traffic. It's the Core Sim Racing bronze entry. They're looking a little bit second-hand, unfortunately, but what a battle. We've got 2 intense battles going on at the moment and a really intriguing battle on the timesheets.
Yeah, it's all going off right now in the middle of this race.
There's actually another battle that's very intense as well. 13th, 14th, 15th and 16th. So the battle that we were watching before, the 2 Teo Martin cars. We've got Team Huggensfield and Isbalai. Some battles going on everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like those Teo Martin Esports Mercedes have been split by the Hosinkveld and Isabel I PSR orange teams.
Well, they were nose to tail for quite a while earlier, weren't they? And they've done a good job, worked their way through the field as well. So the 51 car is up 10 spots from its starting position. So actually that big pack of cars there, all of those have done a good job moving forward. So started 17th, 28th, 29th and 26th, those 4 cars. So they're doing a great job.
Yeah, they are, once again, taking advantage of other people's errors.
Just Core has had a big moment. And I'm just getting a replay on screen now. And
A spin.
almost a spin, but they've lost a heap of ground through the final chicane. And looks as though got out of it okay. A little bit of damage to the front from that the anti-cut, but
Oh man, that's a real shame. It looks like, Ricardo just caught that speed bump with the front of the car, and it kicked the front end a bit too far to the right.
and have a look who's right in the background of that car now.
Yeah.
Those 2 Mercedes are right there with him now, so that's changed that car and really hurt those guys.
Yeah, now the question is, have they lost any time as a result of that damage? And if they have, will it be worth it to repair it in their next pit stop?
You know, how much do they sacrifice to repair? Do they get a couple of seconds worth done extra? As we see our lead car cross the start-finish line. And have a look at the pace improvement from that car. It's now into the low 50s again.
Yeah, very odd from Black Star. The pace, it's like, I'm not sure what to think about that car, to be honest.
I'm guessing it's hit the fuel number again and going for it, but the worn tyres are meaning it can't get into those 49 freakish times that we saw before. But gap first to third now down to 13 seconds. So it's going to be interesting to see with this pit stop, when we see tyres taken as well, how that all plays out. It's going to be very interesting.
Yes, indeed, and it's a shame for the core car because they've effectively lost all the time they gained from not taking tyres in that first pit stop. So they've effectively lost any chance they had at second place, which is a shame.
Car in the lane is the number 10 PSR Orange car that we were watching in that battle before. They've come in out of sequence.
Yeah,
No, sorry, that's the sister car. Sorry, actually, side by side is the PSR Red car.
Yeah, well, the PSR Orange car has a driver change. Javier Treras has given way to Roca Garcia.
Something's happened to the Teo. I was about to say something's happened to the Teo Martin Esports 51 car. I couldn't see it on the timing sheet, but I just realised it's in the pits, also taking its service. So we're at the point now, with an hour and 6 minutes to go, that some drivers will be able to make it home on fuel from here. A lot of drivers are going to push it as long as they can. Short fill, or shorter fill.
Having said that, Jay, that Teo Martin Esports 51 car looks far more damaged than it was than the last time I saw it. Yeah, it's been in the pits for a while.
Yeah, it has. It's looking a little bit sick. It's got a fair bit of damage on the front, doesn't it?
Yeah.
See if we can pick up a replay, so see if we can work out what's happened to that car, because it was looking fairly clean when we last saw it. So yeah, we've got a replay on screen now. It looks like something's happened at the final corner between it and another car.
I'm unable to see it because my replays aren't picking it up, but yeah, that's
oh, here we go. So big crash at the pit entry. Three cars gone. We've got the 4, the 51, and also that was a big crash.
Oh yeah, the Hosinkveld car's in the pits as well.
It was the 10 car. So it was the car that we were watching in that battle pack. That was a huge moment.
Oh wow, yeah, I'm just looking at it on the YouTube broadcast myself. Oh, what a shame for all those guys. Wow.
Another game-changing moment in this race.
Yeah, certainly.
Unfortunate end, though, for those guys. Have a look at second, third, and fourth.
Yeah, I've just flicked to them. The Mercedes have got traffic in the form of the Vendaval car, which is back out on track. And he's going into the pits. So Florian and Elliott, they're going to go side by side down the straight. Oh, Biddle's closing the gap, but he just leaves enough room for Florian Voita.
Oh,
and they're going to switch positions coming into turn 1, and Voita is going to assume pursuit of the core sim racing BMW.
First time they've changed position in the last 50 minutes. In a way, I don't think Biddle will mind too much.
No, certainly not. The amount of dust getting kicked up by cars out of Della Roggia. The far side of the track looks like the Gibson Desert.
Half of our audience won't know what that is.
It's a place that's very hot and very dry.
Just imagine Australia, and that's the Gibson Desert. How you imagine basically. Australia is what that place is.
Yep. Oh, have a look at this. Right on the back of Core Sim Racing now is Gym Racing Yellow. And look at the ERT car behind him. Oh, big pressure, big moment actually from Elliott Biddle over the bump.
Here we go, we're going to see a move.
Very weak straight line speed from the Core Sim Racing car. Boita goes by into Parabolica. Now, I would fully expect Elliott Biddle to go by out of Parabolica.
Gonna do it fairly easy, isn't he?
Yeah, it certainly is. So both Mercedes have gone by.
Of course, that BMW, the Core Sim Racing car, could potentially have a bit of undertrain damage as well, so may be down on extra speed from what it should have. Very unfortunate, though.
Yes, indeed, and lap traffic gives way to all those guys. That's the Dream Factory car, Raul Diago at the wheel of that car now.
I'll tell you what, while these guys have been fighting and jostling for position, have a look at how close 4th and 5th are now. The Thrustmaster Movano car is only 2 seconds back, and it is the fastest car on track at the moment other than the Gym Racing Pink entry.
That is quite astounding. You know, as the two Mercedes went by the core BMW, I just looked in the background and I saw that 3-car battle for 5th, 6th, and 7th, and yeah, they're really closing up now. Have a look. You can almost see it happening by the corner.
It's closing up very, very quickly, isn't it? So staying out for another lap is our race leader. And will we see anyone in this pack second now? Second to seventh, separated by nothing. Will anyone come in the pits? No, they all stay out. So they're all going to hit this second hour. So we have 1 hour and 1 minute left on the clock. Ignore the timer, it's semi right. It's not quite, but it's semi.
Yeah, you know, I cannot believe that we've got 2nd to 7th all separated by the first chicane, basically.
1st to 7th all in the one shot. It's always good to have a big cluster of cars in the same shot, but when they're fighting for podium positions, and we have a true fight as well, and 1st to 2nd now 12 seconds, so these guys are catching. But have a look at the lap time from Black Star Racing car last lap. 1:49.8.
He's turned it on again.
Yeah, he's back into it. Just made a little bit of a mistake there, but fastest car on track last lap around was Elliott Biddle. So second fastest car on track, the Gym Racing car, and the Black Star Racing, the third fastest car on track. So it is well and truly on it.
Well, this is pretty much what happened in stint 1. So, if 34 laps was the first stint, we should expect the Black Star Racing car in about lap 68.
Yeah, it's done 29 laps on this stint, so they'll be fairly confident that they can pit now and make it home. So, try and run it as long as they can. Put the least amount of fuel in as possible, so they run the least amount of laps on the fresh tyres. But the pit window is well and truly open.
Oh yeah, Core Sim Racing in, Thrustmaster Movano in. Iberica and Glacier have stayed out.
Yeah, so these guys are doing the reverse to everyone else. They're trying to get a bit of an undercut, which may work now that there's a few less cars out on the track. Pure and Esther Racing cars, they're still battling together, even coming into the pit lane. They're still nose to tail, which is awesome to see.
Oh yeah, oh no, the Pure Racing team car overshot their box. That might have decided it. Damien McPhee gets into the Pure Racing team black car.
Yeah, a few driver swaps happening
Meanwhile,
in those lead cars.
Marin Cholak gives the Esther Racing team Ferrari car to Vedran Kral. I hope I pronounced that name correctly.
You've done better than me.
I think you'd have said the same thing, Jay.
No, probably not. I would have completely butchered it, and you know it. Alright. I'm bored with the Iberica Racing BenQ car. They've also been passed by the Glacier North car.
Oh, yeah.
So while all the pit shuffling was going on, we've missed that pass. So Glacier North were tucked in behind this car for quite a while. So, jeez. What a track limits.
I don't think Pekka knows what the definition of that word is.
Leader in the lane.
Then again, well, yeah, as the leader comes in the lane, I was going to say, then again, Pekka, I don't think, knows the definition of oversteer, being a Finn. He knows exactly how to combat oversteer. So it is nothing to him.
Jim Racing car stays out.
Yeah.
For some reason our lap counters gone completely haywire. The Glacier North car and the Iberica car stay out, so...
Yep, we've got a bunch of cars in the pits right now. So, yep, Iberica still in.
It's obviously driver swap for the Black Star Racing, but what a first stint that was.
Yep, that was incredible. Elliot Biddle has given the Evolution Racing Team 29 to Simone Maria Marceno.
See what happens here with these guys when they all come out.
Yeah, Kim Erickson jumps into the Black Star Racing McLaren. Now, my eyes are on the cars behind Black Star just to see those Mercedes get a jump at all.
Been stopped for a minute and 6 seconds. Away they go.
Yeah. So
fresh tyres, so off they go.
ERT's still stopped.
Yep. Minute 9, and away they go.
They're away. Yeah, interesting.
So we'll see if the Jim Racing pink car comes in this time, whether they go one more. They're 32 laps into this stint. Also ran 33 in the first stint, so staying out for one more.
Well, would you look at that?
Glacier North come in. And the Iberica BenQ car stays out again as well. So, again, we've got a BMW in second position.
Yeah. And speaking of the other BMW that was in the top 5, the Core Sim Racing black car, well, Pashalis Gergis is now at the wheel of that car.
Oh, they're out ahead of the ERT car.
They are ahead of the ERT car. So, I don't know. Was that stop for ERT longer than expected?
Well, it was 3 seconds longer than the Core Racing car. So, the gap between those cars was about 1.5 seconds before the stop. So, 3 second longer cycle down the pit lane for the 29. Meant, well, 3 second longer stop. 3 seconds longer in the pits. It's meant that those positions are reversed.
Yep. Glacier North is in the pits. JJ Nylander is now in the car.
So the Black Star Racing entry will come back across the start-finish line this time to get back into the top 5. Still got 3 cars ahead who are yet to make their second and final pit stops. The Jim Racing pink entry. These guys will be wanting to run as long as they can now. They'll stay.
Nikodem Wisniewski is in the number 32 Evolution Racing Team car.
The Jim Racing car in. Another good stint for that car as well.
Yeah, very good stuff from Florian Reuter. And Iberica Racing Ben Q comes in as well. Mark Perez brings the car in.
Now watch and see where the Black Star car ends up.
Oh no, Iberica overshot their pit box too.
Oh no. Disappointing for those guys.
Only by a fraction, but still, that's time lost that they really don't need right now.
Black Star Racing stuck behind the Evolution Racing Team, the 32 entry. Now that car has jumped up the timesheets. That's actually for position. They didn't take tyres at that stop, so they are on the reverse strategy. New driver, old tyres, as we said, was going to be tough, but they've shot themselves up the timesheet and are now in contention somehow.
Yeah, that's impressive. Like I had to double check like who was actually driving the car.
And our race leader is now a BMW. The Iberica Racing BenQ car is leading this race legitimately.
Lord. Wow. So that's been cleansed. That's incredible. A BMW is leading a race at Monza.
So the BMW leading. Second position is the Thrustmaster Miviano red car. Third is Black Star Racing. Evolution Racing Team's 32 entry. They're in fourth. And the Jim Racing pink car has come out in fifth position and a fair distance ahead of the core and the other Evolution Racing Team car. So what a shuffle this has been.
Yeah, it's so much of a shuffle. I'm still trying to get my head around it. What even happened?
So no tyres for the lead cars. So the Iberica car, 38.5 second stop. Definitely no tyres on that car. So Perez obviously doing his second stint. They changed tyres in the first stop. We were sort of suspecting if drivers were gonna, or if teams were not gonna take tyres, it would be at the second stop. So a real shuffle for position. But a BMW leads this race. I'll tell you what, the boat's got the sails up and it's somehow going.
Yeah, I think they found a gale all of a sudden.
Will they be able to hold on though? That's the big key. They've got 51 minutes to hold on. The Thrustmaster car, the 33, that car has been pretty quick in that middle stint, so we'll see if it can move forward. Again, no tyres. The Black Star Racing car, with Kim Eriksson at the wheel. Oh, big crash back in the field!
Oh.
The 32.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no.
And the Jim Racing car.
Oh.
So two of our contenders have been involved in an incident.
Oh, no. That's heartbreaking, man. What on earth? Oh, no.
So the Evolution Racing Team, exactly as we suspected would happen. A little bit of a clip, and then...
Oh, and then
the rejoin.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah, oh my goodness. And yeah, the Jim Racing car didn't have anywhere to go.
No. That's painful.
Yeah, painful for both of those cars. They were actually in contention, and especially Jim Racing. They had been super impressive all race, and how would you be if you were Romano Berenic? Just a couple of laps into your stint and that happens. What a shame.
Yeah, that's very disappointing for those guys, and Evolution Racing Team guys as well. So that's changed the race again.
Wow. So it's all gone off in the last few laps, Jay.
Well and truly, just the fresh driver, old tyres. Situation that we suspected may happen. We said, I think about an hour and 45 minutes ago, that we'll see someone go off and do something like that at that spot.
Yeah.
And it's happened.
Would have thought. Yeah. So those are two of your major contenders out of the race, and I guess now It all largely depends on the Evolution Racing team number 29, Corsim Racing Black, who is holding on to them, Black Star Racing, Thrustmaster Movano Red, and Iberica Racing BenQ. Those are your contenders for this race win. And Iberica Racing, with Mark Perez at the wheel, are your current leaders.
Can't discount Glacier North as well. They're in 6th.
No,
not too far behind the Core and Evolution Racing team guys. 4th and 5th is there now. Down the front straight. BMW probably not going to be able to get past here. But if he can maintain that gap through the middle of the circuit, we may see something happen here.
We may very well. Going to compare lap times here. Looking at Elliot Biddle versus Simone Maria Marceno. They look actually pretty well matched in terms of times, so we might see the same lap times being punched out by that 29 car.
Amazing, I've just looked on the timesheets as well. I'm absolutely surprised by this, but the Core Racing BMW has done the fastest lap of the race.
Wait, what?
Not that lap, but earlier in the race it did the fastest lap of the entire race, a 1:49.2. Fastest lap of the race was done by that car.
Well, what do you know?
I don't believe it as well. Must have been when they were tucked in for that double, triple draft. When they were just sitting happily at the back of that pack. Gap first to second, 2.5 seconds, but second to third is closed to under 10 seconds. The Black Star Racing car is on a charge. Here we go.
Here we are. Yeah, you can see Pashalis Gergis. He's driving really well right now in that Corsim Racing BMW. Staying within Simone, and have a look at how much later he's breaking into Parabolica, and he's managing to maintain the line. Oh my god, look, he's almost within a couple of car lengths on the front straight. This is great pace from the Core BMW.
It's incredible pace from that car.
Yeah, 49.9 on that lap. Fantastic stuff.
Fastest car on track, though, is this car. Black Star Racing. Kim Eriksson at the wheel now. And you wouldn't even know that there's a driver swap because the pace is pretty much identical.
Yeah.
And the big advantage that Eriksson has got in this stint is there's no fuel saving anymore. Fresh tyres, no fuel saving. Out you go. Run it dry.
Are we sure that Finnish sim races aren't all just clones of each other?
I'm pretty sure they're all the same person.
Yeah?
They all drive as good as each other, so... They've all from the same talent pool, so... I wish I had a quarter of the talent of... I need to go back through my family tree and see if I've got anyone from any Finnish descent so that I can try and find some talent, so...
Well, I've got Finnish heritage.
Well, that explains why you're half decent, mate.
Hey! It's in my blood.
On board with the Core Sim racing car. One thing you can guarantee when you watch a V8's online broadcast is that Reese and I will have a lot of fun while we're commentating. We'll always go off tangent and it's quite entertaining when we do.
Yeah, it certainly is. I'm actually almost at the end of my fourth beer of the night.
Look, I was going to say, how many beers have you drunk during this broadcast? This is Saturday night for us in Australia, so for those who are wondering why we're drinking beer, it's very, very hot. It's leading up to summer, and it's Saturday night, so we're having as much fun as the drivers are out on track. We're probably the least stressed people in this session because we're just enjoying the action, and it's been a very, very good race. And I know, talking to a lot of teams before the start of this race, they said BMW's nowhere to be seen this weekend. Expect them to come through later in the championship. What? Yeah. I don't think Iberica Racing or Corsim Racing have read the memo, because they are well and truly on it.
Yeah, Yeah, it's not going to be a case of nowhere at Monza and coming through later on in the championship. I'd hazard a guess that it's really punch above their weight at Monza and then nigh on dominate the rest of the championship. I'm calling it now.
Very, very, very big possibility that, I mean, we know that the Mercedes are going to be very consistent, but heading up into the later rounds of the championship, the BMWs are going to be the rocket ship cars as we head forward. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see. Ericsson in the McLaren now has the gap to the Thrustmaster Miviano car down to 7.7 seconds. Last lap around, 1.2 seconds. We'll see what it can be or what it will be this time around. I have a feeling it'll be pretty much the same. It's another half a second, so down to 7.7.
Crucially, on that last lap, the Iberica BMW was faster. Oh no, it wasn't. Sorry, I just forget I started that entire sentence. Jay,
don't crack that beer yet, mate.
Move on. It's okay. I finished it. I'm all out now.
The core sim racing guys, they're doing a great job at the moment. They're just applying pressure to the ERT29 car.
Yeah. Once again, I'm super impressed with these BMWs. It's fantastic to see this. At a round where they shouldn't have even been in contention in the top 10, let alone the top 5.
Let alone leading the race.
Look at this. Little run.
Yep.
Oh, and Simone moves to cover coming into Lesmo 1. Now Pashalis Gergis is really putting the pressure on here.
Nylander in the Glacier car will be loving seeing these guys fight too, because he's now closed up half a second in the last 3 corners.
He has. Great stuff to see. So your top 6 is... Wow. I wouldn't have guessed at the start of the race that we'd be seeing the top 6 that we would. No,
we've got BMW, Mercedes, McLaren, Mercedes, BMW, McLaren, the top 6. So 2 of each. The leading Ferrari is in 10th position, and that's the Ester Racing car. They're unfortunately not battling with the pure car anymore. They're about 4 seconds behind that car. I was just seeing the ERT number 19 car around.
Oh goodness, we got a couple of cars around actually. That's the Core Sim Racing Bronze. What happened to those?
See if we can pick up what's happened here.
What? Oh, whoa. Hold on a minute. So, looks like Jere Parkkonen in the Core Bronze car just caught that speed bump and was sent airborne.
Yep.
And then, Nikodem Wisniewski. Nikodem just went right into it.
Tell you what, that car launched a lot more than I was expecting when I got the replay of that. That's quite a big bit of contact there. So
yeah, and he was sent spearing across the track and nearly ruined the race of a couple of other cars as well. Vendeval Sim Racing was made contact with, and Dream Factory just barely avoided Wisniewski. Man, so yeah, Wisniewski not having a very good time in that ERT machine.
So the Evolution Racing Team car is in the pits. And I'm going to guess that car will be pretty much done for this race now, unfortunately.
Yeah.
We go back to 4th and 5th once again.
Yeah, I will say though, Jay, one battle that I am looking at the moment is the battle for 8th and 9th. ERT number 31, Adam Maguire is in that car, and Vedran Kral is right on the back of him.
We're seeing this Ferrari being tucked in behind another car for pretty much all the races. Maguire has a big moment.
Yeah.
But this Ferrari's just sat in behind cars pretty much all day, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think Esther Racing Team have gotten very used to having a car in their field of view at some point.
Just, it seems like the way that car's set up, it's quite happy sitting in behind another car.
Yeah. And I mean, can you blame them? It's Monza.
And the Ferraris definitely haven't had the advantage that they did when they were first released. So, seen a lot of teams back away from the Ferrari. Everyone was in it to start with, and then everyone's gone away and gone back to the Mercedes once again as the all-rounder. But good to see we've got a bit of a mix throughout the field. Our leading Audi is in 17th.
Yep, that's
It's our only Audi still going.
RSO. Yeah, actually. What happened to the other one? Wow, they're 32 laps down on the leaders.
They're out of the race by the looks of it.
Very unfortunate.
Gap third to second, 5.6 seconds.
Just closing and closing. And the battle for 4th, 5th, and 6th.
Well, now is a 4th, 5th, and 6th battle, isn't it? Because the Glacier North car is within draft range.
And who's that Simona's got in front of him? There's the Champs iRacing RTF car. Juan Miguel Rodriguez in 28th position, so that'll be a welcome draft for the number 29.
It'll make life a little bit easier. I mean, the big advantage that the ART car has is that they've got the grunt down that front straight, and the BMW doesn't have quite the power down there. So if he can maintain some sort of gap, it's a bit easier to defend this part of the circuit now, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely is. Even at Monza, you know, a track that is traditionally quite biased towards big power, low downforce cars as the Champs iRacing car lets them by, you still see the BMW come to life in certain areas of the circuit. Like, have a look at Paschalis here. He catches right up to the back of Simone through these slower turns.
He just can't quite get through though, can he? He's there, but just not quite at the right spots. Now, I'm just drawing our attention away again, but first to second, 3 seconds. It's maintained that pretty much since the pit stops. First to third, now down to 7.7 seconds. Last lap, 8/10 gained by the Black Star Racing entry. We'll see what it will be this time. A 50.5 for the Birica Racing car.
49.6 again for Black Star.
So 7.7 seconds, 4.6 to the car ahead. It is on a charge. That's the fastest lap on track at that last lap around.
Well, I guess it's all in the hands of Kim Eriksson here. It's up to him to see if Black Star Racing can indeed take the win, but I don't know, Iberica Racing have just come out of nowhere in this last stint of the race.
I think they've surprised everyone. I don't think anyone was expecting that car to come out in the position it has. And they'll be very wary of the Black Star car coming through, but by the time the Black Star car gets there, will it have any rubber left? Will it be able to actually get past? I mean, it's going to be very, very tight. Is there enough time? Probably just enough time for him to get there, but then how easy is it going to be for the Black Star car to get past the Thrustmaster Movano car?
That is a very good point, because that Thrustmaster Movano car has been one of the quickest cars on track for pretty much the entire race, and Tommaso Carla has, you know, from the moment he got in that car, he's just, like, I'm looking at his lap times, and it's just 1 minute 49 after 1 minute 49 after 1 minute 49 for the most part, so...
This stint's probably down a little bit on pace. Obviously didn't take tyres at that last stop, which has got them into this situation that they're in now. maintaining pace with that lead BMW, but car on screen, the Black Star Racing car, tell you what, it is on a charge and a half.
Yeah, but once he gets up to the Thrustmaster Movano car, well, Kim Eriksson, I think he'll have his work cut out for him.
Yeah, it definitely won't be easy to get past. How much tyre will he waste getting past? And how much time will be left if he can get past to then catch the Iberica car? Based on absolute pace, there's plenty of time left.
Oh, we got a move, Jay.
We have. Side by side.
Oh, almost contact. But it looks like Pashalis Gergis has gotten past Simone Maria Marceno. What a move around the outside of turn 2. That's awesome. But is Simone going to get it back here at the second chicane? No, he's going to back out as expected. But have a look who is well and truly in the picture now just behind them, Jay.
Yep, right there is the Glacier North car. We'll get a quick replay of that pass because that was very, very impressive. I'm surprised that the BMW was able to get that done, but held it around the inside, then around the outside for the second part of that chicane. Great move. Let's put them up into 4th position. Will they be able to hold on? Glacier North now right in this too.
Yeah, they are, and I've got the biggest grin on my face. JJ Nylander in that Glacier North McLaren is now monstering the back of that Evolution Racing Team number 29 Mercedes. And this is a proper 3-car battle now with that Core Sim Racing BMW, the weakest of these cars in a straight line.
This is going to be fun down the front straight, isn't it?
Yeah, it's going to keep them sandwiched together. So they come out of Parabolica once again for the 79th time. We'll see what Marceno does here.
Now, of course, we don't know 100% the fuel games that these guys have been playing, but have a look at the weaving from the core guy. Whoa, have a look at the pace difference.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Moves well and truly done, but
no.
Under brakes,
well
no.
Done.
Not done. I'm surprised.
Came back.
Good braking from Gergis there. He's done a great job.
Yeah.
I'm going to guess Nylander in the Glacier North car is just going to sit back and watch this for a little bit. Think I'm not going to get involved yet. But I think it's a yet.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, have a look at the gap that Gergis pulls through this middle part of the circuit. Like, if you look from bumper cam, you can actually see Marceno growing smaller between the Lesmo turns. It's insane the pace that BMW has in the actual turns. Tell you one thing else though. The top 3 are starting to close up, and wouldn't you know it, both of them have got lapped cars that they are grouped with and drafting with.
Probably not drafting the way they want because they're actually helping the lap cars. But what this is doing, the Black Star Racing car, Kim Eriksson, 2.4 seconds to the Thrustmaster Movano car. And then the Iberica Racing BenQ car is 2.8 seconds ahead. So 5 seconds now separate first, second and third.
This is going to get really juicy. Dennis Geresen asks, what time is it now down under? Of course, Jay just typed in the broadcast chat, 10:45 p.m. That's what it's like over in Melbourne. For me over in Perth, it's 7:45.
And for those of you who are wondering too, it's Celsius. It's around about 30 degrees here at the moment.
Yep.
In a tin shed. It's hot and sweaty, and loving every minute of this race. And so glad we decided to put our hand up and broadcast this because it's been a hell of a lot of fun, and we're looking forward to next week already.
Yeah, this has been a very entertaining race so far, and I can't wait for the rest of this season of the iRacing Blancpain Endurance Series qualifiers. because we will be broadcasting every one of these races up until and through January. So be sure to stay with us for those.
Big weekend of broadcasting for us too. We've got our biggest series that we broadcast, the V8 Supercar Online Premier Series, the penultimate round this weekend, and well-known driver to our Pro Series viewers, Jared Filsell, can win the championship this weekend with a round to spare, depending on his finish. So, be good fun. Surprisingly, it didn't really happen that way, but we end up at the same track again. We're at Monza again tomorrow for V8 Scops, and then again Monday night as well. So,
yeah,
we're just camp here for the weekend, I guess.
Yeah, it's like Sonoma a few months ago. It
where we did everything there.
Every single race that week was there. All right, the battle for 4th, 5th, and 6th.
Here we go. North. Having a look. Placing North almost up the inside with Nylander at the wheel, but not quite able to do it. We're under half an hour to go too.
Yep, so time is running out for these guys. And it'll all go off in the last couple of laps, I think. Second and third, Jay. They aren't separated by much. Yep.
We have a true battle for the podium positions now because it's under a second to third. Interesting to see what happens with this lap traffic too, how easy a job they make it between these cars. I mean, they're fighting their own battles because there are 26 positions up for grabs in the Pro Series, so they want to make sure that they get as good a position as they can, but they also don't want to interfere with the lead fights. 3 seconds separating first, second, and third now.
And JJ Nylander flashing his lights in the rear mirror. Andreas Lekan in the MSP Phoenix Racing 3 BMW. Letting him know, I am here. I wish to get past. And have a go at Tommaso Carla up ahead. Yep, there we go.
Made it fairly easy in the end. And Ericsson probably got a little bit of an advantage coming out of the corner too with the way that lap car moved out of the way.
So now there is nothing between Ericsson and Carla. Have a look at how rapid the pace of that McLaren is. A little bit wide.
Missed the apex there. So
yeah, front end just seemed to wash out slightly.
Yep. And will a Black Star racing car be able to do this fairly quickly? If he can, then we're well and truly on for the lead. If this battle takes a little while to unfold, that plays into the Iberica racing car big time for those guys.
It definitely does. Mark Perez is looking pretty calm there. Got a lapped car behind him. That's Christian Koch for simrc.de. He's looking very cool and composed out there in the front, and he's doing mid-150s.
Here we go. It is on.
Oh, yep.
Down the front straight, side by side. It's a true drag race.
Oh, the Mercedes looks like it has a little bit of a run. Question is, can Ericsson outbrake? Oh, the Mercedes lifted out of it.
Yep. Decided no point fighting, tuck in behind and possibly follow Ericsson up to our race leader. So now into second position comes the Black Star racing car. With 24 minutes left on the clock, they've got to find 2.7 seconds to our race leader. One thing to find that, it's another thing to get past.
It definitely is, and I get the feeling that depending on when it happens, Mark Perez will try and make that BMW as wide as he possibly can. Having said that, though, over 5/10 a lap being reeled in by Kim Eriksson.
Oh, side-by-side action back in the field. Glacier North side-by-side with Evolution Racing Team. Will we see? Oh, almost contact and through goes Nylander. Move done up into 5th.
Lovely stuff from Glacier North. That was a really good move around the outside there on the exit of De La Roggia. Of course, I think ERT was at a bit of a disadvantage there because of the amount of dust on the circuit at that location, but still, for them to go side by side through De La Roggia like that and not make contact is pretty impressive.
Yep, good bit of driving for both those guys. Both gave each other enough room, and even with a little bit of a bump off the curb for the Evolution Racing Team car, there was no contact, so great to see. So we go back live to the front. First to second, under 2 seconds. Cue the Jaws music because the shark is closing.
So 1 minute 50.5 from the Iberica racing car. From the Black Star racing car, 149.6. They reeled in almost 9/10 of a second on that last lap.
And have a look at how much they've pulled away from the Thrustbus Moviano car.
Yeah.
Carla's now 1.3 seconds back. And that fighting as well between Glacier North and Evolution Racing Team has meant that the core sim racing car has broken away.
Yeah.
And not really under any threat from either of these two cars.
Yeah, I was going to say that at when they went through Ascari. I was just astounded at how far Paschalis Gergis had pulled ahead.
So it's one second between Core and Glacier at the moment. So we'll see if that gap closes in the next little while. But gap that is closing, second to first, is now down to 1.4 seconds.
Oh boy, it's happening.
It's on.
Yep, it certainly is. We haven't got long left in this race. Bit over 20 minutes.
Still have 23 drivers or 23 teams on the lead lap. We still have 35 runners, so 20 DNFs in this race, which I'm astounded with. But is that these teams have got multiple chances, 3 chances to race this weekend to try and accumulate as many points as possible over this championship. As we said earlier, the top 26 in the championship will go through. Normally 25, but one team has handed back their pro licenses and are going at it again. So 26 spots up for grabs. Gap first to second, 1 second.
Yep, and Mark Perez has a bit of lap traffic ahead of him. Salva Talens in the Euphoria racing car. He was flashing his lights down the front straight. Looks like Talens is letting him by this time around. He's going to try and slot in. Oh, Ericsson's not going to like this. 2 lap cars side by side ahead of him coming into De La Roggia.
It's a bit messy for him, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. This is one thing that you don't want to see as a car trying to get a position. There's 2 lapped cars in a row ahead of you, slowing each other up. Fortunately, looks like Koch has let him go, and Talens may do the same in due course.
Yep, between Core and Glacier is closed up as well. So that gap that had opened up, it has closed back down. So that will be on again very soon, but we'll stay with first and second. It's down to a second again. Here we go, it's on.
And honestly, with the amount of speed that Black Star Racing has, I would expect them to go by and take this lead. The question is when. Yeah,
I'm thinking the same. I think it's probably going to happen down the front straight at some point. I mean, we've got 20 minutes left in this race, so what's that? 12 laps, 11 laps of racing still to go, so still a fair bit of time left in this one. So I would say within the next 3 laps or so, the Black Star Racing car will make a move down the front straight. And so you can see how quickly it's closing in. It's gaining a tenth every 100 metres or so.
crazy the difference between these cars. But, you know, full credit to Iberica Racing Team. They have managed to get a BMW into the leading positions of a Blancpain GT race at Monza. You know, that's just an incredible feat.
It's been amazing, and for them to play the strategy game as well as they have to get themselves in this position. That first stint where they just tucked in behind in that battle between second and fifth, we saw those 4 cars fighting. They just tucked in there and saved fuel. Middle stint did a great job, kept it out of trouble. And then to play no tyre strategy, they've saved a bit of fuel because they've got a fairly short stop. And they've put themselves in this position where they have legitimately been in first for a large portion of this last stint.
Yeah, well, it looks like Ericsson, he's got the draft. Oh, have a look at that. Iberica moving to defend into Ascari.
I don't think this will be where it'll happen. I think it's down the front straight. Interesting, the last lap around, the pace from Glacier North and Evolution Racing Team, 49.3 for both of those cars. Their car's fastest laps of the race.
That's pretty awesome.
So the pace of that pack will be very, very good to go back to soon.
Yeah. They've caught right back up to Pashalis Gergis as well, but still the battle for the lead is what we want to look at right now, and it looks like they've well and truly got the power down well, have Black Star racing out of Parabolica, and they're going to go side by side across the start-finish line with Iberica Racing Team, and they will surely take the lead down the front stretch. It looks like Mark Perez is just lifting out of the throttle a bit in that BMW, just going to draft with Kim Eriksson now in these last stages of the race.
You've got a fairly decent gap between Perez and Tommaso Cala, so it's around about 3 seconds to the car back. So if he can stick with...
have a move on for fourth.
3 wide. So around the outside goes Glacier North. Core drops back in behind. So Glacier North now up into 4th. Core back to 5th. Evolution Racing Team in 6th.
Yep, so Pashalis Gergis lost that position there, and I don't know how hungry Simone Maria Marceno is. Still lifting out of the throttle. And wow, I've just had a look back up the front. Have a look at the gap that Ericsson has pulled already.
Yeah, it's a second already. In half a lap, it's a second, or 3/4 of a lap, it's a full second. So Ericsson is well and truly on it. It's just seeing a car slow. Oh, that's our front-running Audi, the Team RSO.
Oh, yeah.
It has made heavy contact with the wall at some point.
Oh yeah, they're going to pull over and escape. That's race over for Team RSO.
So both of their cars, unfortunately, out. And just the old little piece of grass at the exit of that bit there with the AstroTurf, just catching them out. We go back to this 4th, 5th, 6th battle. Glacier North now there ahead. I'm thinking that they will have the pace to pull away from Core and ERT, but I don't think it's over between ERT and Core here.
Oh no, certainly not. You got to remember, Pashalis has got the draft of the Glacier North car. So that means that he can just stay ahead there of Simone. The BMW was so good on the brakes into the first chicane.
Tell you what, fairly close here, and this is the part of the track from now that this BMW has looked really strong.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's go back to the next battle pack. 8th and 9th. May have a move for position here up the inside. Goes Esther Racing Team car. No, tucks back into line behind the Evolution Racing Team entry. So we've still got fighting for position within the top 10 at the moment.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, Vedran is still looking very racy versus Adam Maguire. We'll have a look at how much he closes up under brakes.
Thought he was almost going to make contact there.
Yeah.
Of course, our leading Ferrari is the Ester Racing Team car. First to second's already gone out to 2.4 seconds, but this ERT and Ester Racing Team battle looks very, very interesting.
Yeah, it definitely does. Having a look at lap times, yeah, the Ester Ferrari definitely looks like the quicker car at this stage.
Seeing a change of position for 13th and 14th position. The Black Bull Racing ASR car, they're now up into 13th position. Now they've moved all the way from 41st position into 13th. 28 position gain.
That's pretty crazy. That Black Bull Racing car, like, you know, and isn't it telling that most of the cars we've seen do awesome things in this race have been BMWs.
Yep.
They've had to punch well above their weight in this race, all of the BMW teams, and credit to every single one of them. They've done a fantastic job. That Black Bull Racing car, as you said, what a position gain. That's incredible.
Ester Racing Team has just got past the Evolution Racing Team car. The drag race down the front straight. Just get a replay.
Ooh. Went off quite a fair way into... Wow, okay, so the Evolution Racing Team car has fallen back quite a bit. It's lost a lot more time than I was expecting.
Now that car has been out there on old boots, so old tyres for that car, so possibly starting to really struggle with them and just making sure they consolidate a position and drop back and not fight too hard as we got 11 minutes to go. We go back to 4th, 5th, 6th. This is a battle that's well and truly on.
Yeah, you're right, Jay. And Pashalis Gergis, once again, he's using the draft of the Glacier North McLaren to his advantage here. He's managing to stay ahead of Marceno.
Tell you what, it almost looks like he's got enough pace in that draft to maybe get a move done. If he can get a great run onto the front straight, he could maybe pull something miraculous out and get a run to get a move done. So...
Yeah, and if I were him, I'd wait until the last lap to attempt a move like that, because that McLaren is so quick around here, it'll easily get the position back if you do it too early.
Yeah, exactly right there. I suppose, too, if he does it on the last lap, worst that's probably going to happen is he loses one spot. Instead of finishing 5th, I'll finish 6th. But does it too early, he could end up shuffling back, and then that enabling the car behind the pure car to fight up into this battle if they fight too hard. So, or mean that they will drop all the way behind the Glacier car and it pulls away, as we're just seeing the PSR Orange car into the pits for the 3rd time in this race. So that's not a positive. Those guys having to pit out of sequence from 20th position.
Yes, that's very odd. I didn't see anything wrong with their lap times. I think either it was a penalty for cutting the track too many times, perhaps, or
possibly 7-second stop. So I'm guessing
issues, or
7 seconds to me says splash of fuel.
Splash of fuel, yeah.
Gap 1st to 2nd is out to 5 seconds already. But we go back to 2nd, 3rd, 4th. 4th, 5th, 6th. Getting me battle numbers mixed up.
And that says it all, doesn't it, Jay? There's been so many battles happening in this race, so many awesome fights all throughout the field. I'm surprised we haven't actually confused ourselves as to what battle we're looking at already.
I'm amazed that we've only got 9 minutes left in this race, because I'm just starting to settle into a groove now.
Yeah, me too.
So, looking forward to seeing a couple of 4-hour races in this series as we move on. As we said, next week, back-to-back races, back-to-back weekends for these guys. with next weekend at Silverstone, then pretty much every second weekend after that for the rest of this series. Obviously have a little bit of a break over Christmas, but Silverstone, then we head to Suzuka and Road Atlanta before Christmas, then early in the new year Spa and Nürburgring. So pretty cool schedule, and one that will really mix up the field. I think Suzuka is going to be a really interesting race with how that track behaves for these cars. We'll see a bit of a mixed field from what we've seen, especially at this race where it's more suited to the McLaren than the BMW, but the results don't really show that.
No, they don't. Oh, have a look here. Evolution Racing Team having a look. Coming into Parabolica at Core Sim Racing. So Marceno's looking very racy here, and it looks like Gergis has fallen off the back of Nylander slightly.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if close enough to get a move here. Look, defending and weaving.
Yeah.
Here we go. Side by side
really
here.
Much Gergis can do from here.
No,
so
just a passenger just watches on and move done. So through goes the Evolution Racing Team car, up into 5th, back to 6th goes the Core Sim Racing car. Gergis, though, as we've said, still looks like they've got pace, especially through this part of the track here. I think can get close enough. Yeah, well, we've already seen moves done amazingly here, but might be close enough here. No, I had to get out of the throttle. I thought was trying to set up and see if we could get a good line out of there, a good launch to maybe get a move done into Lesmo 1, but unable to do it.
And that Thrustmaster Mivano car looks to me as though the tyres may have well and truly gone on that car, because they're currently only just able to match the pace of the Iberica Racing BMW.
Tell you what, Gergis might be close enough to try something a little bit ambitious. Get a good exit out of here. Tuck up into the draft. Gonna be close enough? Not quite. Won't be any moves happening this lap. The rest of the field has settled. This is the only true battle we've got on track at the moment, other than a battle for 30th and 31st, which is separated by about 1.5 seconds. The rest of the field is all into their own little areas. The closest 2 cars on track is our battle for 5th and 6th. Of course, 4th, 5th and 6th involved in this battle pack.
Looks like Nylander has managed to pull out a little bit more of a gap as well.
It's got out to a full second, or just over a second. Last lap around a 49.4. Now the Thrustmaster Miviano red car is really starting to struggle with their tyre wear now, because that last lap a 51.1 and the Iberica Racing car a 51.4. So those 2 cars are really starting to struggle. They're the first 2 cars, the only 2 cars inside the top 5 to not have fresh tyres at the last stop.
Yeah, it's actually surprising how much Glacier North caught up on Thrustmaster Mivano on that last lap.
We'll have a look at how much they're pulling away from the Evolution Racing Team as well. So Nylander's got it well and truly hooked up in this last late stage of the race. There's probably not enough time for him to catch. We got 4 laps to go, I'm going to guess. 4.5 minutes left. I'm going to say 4 laps. 6.5 seconds to the car ahead. I don't think there's enough time left. That's 1.5 seconds a lap. I'll tell you what, it's going to be pretty close.
Yeah, it is. And they're basically within sight now.
Yep. Last lap, 1.6 second difference. That is the gap that is needed to catch.
Ooh, so it could definitely be on for third. Right now, at this super late stage of the race.
Just seen a change of position. Setomuto back in the car and back up to 15th. We saw that car back in 30th a little while ago. They were up in the top 10, back to 30th, and now back up into 15th again. So they're still going on. They're just past the Torrent Motorsport car, another car that we saw in the wars, but they're still pushing on. Up into 16th. So they have done a pretty good job still fighting on. I know they hadn't had a great race. They'd been involved in a lot of issues, so still pushing on, which is good to see. Look at Gergis though, right on the back now of the ERT car.
Yeah, he's not done, is he? He's
No.
not letting him go.
Just wanting to at least make it interesting for the last few minutes of this race. So it'll be 3 laps to go when these guys cross the line this time.
Yep, so our leader has just crossed the line of 49.6. With a 50.8 for Mark Perez, so Black Star Racing on fire right now.
Yeah, they've well and truly got this, as long as something untoward doesn't happen for that car. Hopefully not for their sake, because they've driven an absolutely faultless race for the first 2 hours and 57 minutes of this one.
Yep. 5th and 6th really closed up into the first chicane then.
Now I'm amazed how close these guys are.
Yeah. I tell you what, how's the pace of Nylander? Was he the fastest car on
Yeah,
track
last lap round, fastest car on track last lap round. English isn't too good after 3 hours of talking. Yeah, 49.5, and the car that is hunting down the Thrustmaster Miviano car, we said he needed around about 1.5 seconds a lap. 1.5 seconds quicker. It's not over.
Down the wire for the podium.
It is. The only issue is going to be there will only be 1 more lap to go, so I don't think there's going to be enough time. I thought there was going to be 2, but there's only going to be 1 more, because Black Star Racing is now about to come up to the start-finish line now, so they will get the white flag signal this time around.
It is still not over for 5th and 6th. Pashalis Gergis just got slowed up a bit on the exit of Ascari. Wasn't quite able to get on the throttle. He's closing up amazingly through Parabolica. So it's not over for the top 5. We would have said it's not over for the podium, but we don't think that Nylander has enough time to catch up.
I don't think he can find 3.5 seconds in the last lap, but 5th and 6th is well and truly on.
Yeah, have a look at them. They're moving around in the braking zone almost. Absolute insanity. What a race this has been, Jay.
Yeah,
And,
it's been fantastic.
And in terms of the lead, Black Star Racing, they've been faultless. I don't think I've seen a more clinical, perfect drive for most of the time that I've been commentating on broadcasted races. It's just been a fantastic drive from Kim Eriksson and from Joni Heikkinen.
Yeah, that first stint from Joni was absolutely phenomenal, to basically do enough to back up the field and save fuel in that first stint, and then all of a sudden flick a switch and go for it. That second half of the first hour was absolutely phenomenal. There was commitment plus the whole way through. But big congratulations through the final turn for the final time. Black Star Racing, a great drive, faultless drive, and I would say one of the most perfect races we have ever seen here on V8 Online.
Yep, fantastic drive from Black Star Racing. They take the win in round one of the iRacing Blancpain Endurance Series qualifiers. But how about Iberica Racing in that BMW? Second place in a race that they had no business being anywhere near the top 5 in.
They had no business being in the top 10, so well done to those guys. The Thrustmaster Viviano car holds on for third in the end. Fourth to Glacier North, and Evolution Racing Team just hold on from the other BMW in the top 10. Well done to Core Sim Racing as well. Those two cars, I think, other than the Black Star Racing car, driver of the day for those two BMWs. Well done to those guys.
For sure. Pure Racing Team comes home in 7th place. And Esther Racing Team, they were fighting with Pure for a lot of the race. They ended up losing out in the end, but still, from 16th to 8th, that's a very good drive indeed from car number 5. Marin Cholak and Vedran Kral coming home with a top 10 in that Ferrari. Fantastic job.
Well done to Teo Martin Esports as well. They were fighting mid-teens most of the race, and have somehow come through in the last 10, finished 9th. The Evolution Racing Team holds on to 10th, so 2 cars in the top 10 for Evolution Racing Team. But I'll tell you what, Black Star Racing, that has been one of the most phenomenal drives we have ever seen.
Yeah, of course. Just, I cannot think of a single negative thing to say about that drive. It was as perfect as you could get. But one more shout out I want to give, and you mentioned them recently, Jay. Car number 27, the Black Bull Racing ASR machine. They just come home in 13th place after starting outside the top 40.
Yep.
What a drive from Alvaro Sanchez and Alex Ardesana.
Yep. 28 spot gain in that race is absolutely phenomenal. So well done to those guys, but can't take anything away from Black Star Racing. They have done absolutely everything they intended to do in this race, and have really shown something that I think a lot of teams were not ready for in this race.
Yeah, certainly not. And I mean, how does this bode for the rest of the championship? These BMWs, if they can finish this well at Monza, well, what are the other cars going to be able to bring it to the BMWs at the other tracks?
Yeah, I've got no idea. It's going to be very, very interesting next few weeks here on V8 Online as we bring you the Blancpain Endurance Series. But we'll run through the race results. Black Star Racing picking up the win, ending up winning by 16 seconds in the end over Iberica BenQ. Well done to those guys. Fantastic job throughout the entire day. The other thing to note, fastest lap of the race on the second to last lap for Black Star Racing with a 49 flat, so well done to those guys. Pole, fastest lap, race win, led the most laps, can't ask for any more, so well done. Iberica BenQ Racing, as I said, P2. Thrustmaster Miviano Red in third, Glacier North in fourth, Evolution Racing Team 29 in fifth, Core Sim Racing Bez Black in sixth, then Pure Racing Team Black in seventh, Esther Racing Team in eighth, Teo Martin Esports number 65 in 9th, and 10th, rounding out the top 10, Evolution Racing Team number 31.
Odox Motorsport Samsung number 14 will come home in 11th, with GTL VRT Gold in 12th. Black Bull Racing, in terms of sheer position gains, the drive of the day, 27 spots, 41st to 13th place. Fantastic job from those guys in the BMW. Dream Spirits Racing comes home in 14th, with Team Chimera bringing home a 15th place finish from a 25 place start. Torrent Motorsports BES comes home in 16th, with SRB Racing in 17th. 18 taken up by Jim Racing Azuri and SRT Esports Red in 19th, rounding out the top 20 in the first car to finish off the lead lap, the PSR Red Machine.
At 21st position, Sim RC.de Emerald, then 22nd, MSP Phoenix Racing 3, Euphoria Racing in 23rd, PSR Orange in 4th, Blue Flag Racing next, then Champs, iRacing, RTF. Glacier South, good job from those guys to get going back out there, ended up in 27th position. Iberica Racing Interactive in 28th, Dream Factory 9th, and Vendaval Sim Racing Black in 30th position.
And Hellenic Racing coming home in their Ferrari in 31st place, 32nd VEC Sim Racing at 33rd, GT Ross SST Pro White, 34th position. Team RSO BGT, of course, unfortunately retiring in the latter stages in their Audi. The other retirees, Jim Racing Pink, very unfortunate end to their race after contact with the Evolution Racing Team number 32 car. Corsim Racing BES Bronze also retires. Team Hosingfeld BGT, Team RSO BGT2, Zenith ASR, and Evolution Racing Team number 32 making the top 40, but unfortunately retiring from the race.
Yeah, we've got some positions not showing up correctly here. So Paraguay Racing AV, Euphoria Racing, also Motorsport, Tia Martin Esports, Vanderval. Car that what might have been for those guys today, they are doing a pretty good job in their BMW, but unfortunately involved in a few incidents. MSP Phoenix Racing, Team Bushfink Racing Pink, Sim RCDE, Crimson, Pure Racing Team Yellow, Alpine Eagle Racing and Jim Racing Yellow, Zenith High Speed, Vendaval Sim Racing, Redface Racing, and Odox Motorsports, the entire field. And, well, I'm spent, but what a race that was.
Yeah, honestly, I'm super tired too, Jay, but if it had been earlier in the day for us, I think like we would have taken that energy through the rest of our afternoon. Just an incredible race here to kick off the Pro Series qualifiers on iRacing, and you know it bodes well not only for the rest of the qualifiers series, but also for the Pro Series Championship next year.
Yeah, exactly right. This is the warm up. This is the big one that you need to win. If you're not in with contention in these races, you might as well not even worry, because this is not quite what you're going to expect in the Pro Series. When you get there, it's going to be even tougher than this. So it's really going to show who is the best and who is the rest, and looking forward to seeing how it all plays out over the next few weeks.
Yep, certainly. Well, that brings an end to this broadcast, but the action doesn't stop here at V8's Online, of course. We've got the V8 Supercar Online Premiere Series tomorrow night, Australian time. And of course, we've got a full roster of championships that we broadcast. For all details and any further information, be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter at V8's Online, and go to our website, www.v8sonline.com. You've been watching the first round of the iRacing Blancpain Endurance Series qualifiers here at the Autodromo Nazionale Monza. Your first round winners, Black Star Racing. We'll see you next time on V8's Online.